and in 2 days it's gone up $6. So nearly doubled its value. Every time I look, I'm just like, ugh. Then I'm like, there's no way it's going to keep going up, and it just keeps going up. But now if I buy in, it'll go down. So I
buy low, sell high.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think the YouTube one's going now.
Let's put this one a little up.
Wait, a little more light.
There we go.
I don't know how he got it showing up here.
Derek must have found Wi-Fi
What is that?
because he wrote back.
What do you say?
I'm at live after 5.
Yeah, I don't know how to bring it up on there now. Okay, we'll just start it.
Oh, bring it up on the TV? I'm sure it'll be fine. Good to go?
Yes. Okie doke. So, this is the second one of the Tommy Turtle transmission. We have here today Jordan Currie, local hero,
Meast.
MMA fighter, just downright good guy. Watched his fight last week. Unfortunate loss, very unfortunate. Entertainer of the year, in my opinion. And we have his brilliant brother, Jason. So, Jordan.
Hey guys,
Let's start
what's
with
going
you.
on, man? I guess I better share this on mine too. I
Definitely.
totally forgot to do that. Yep. Oh yeah, here it is. Look at it. Tag me in a post. Look at that. It's a good man. Alright, we're good to go.
We are good to go. Jordan.
So yeah, that it was a fun fight, long fight.
It was.
Too long for my liking, but yeah.
So tell us about the the months coming into it, because I know it was like almost 10 months, I think, since your last fight. So what was the change? Like, I mean, what got you back into thinking after that long, which, I mean, to come out to a top level fight, I mean, this is for a belt. Like, what got you back into thinking about doing it?
Well, I've been looking to fight Tony for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was a lot faster, and I knew he had the experience level, but I kind of, like, in my mind, the guys that I train with every day didn't really feel like the experience. Maybe in the cage he had more of an experience level, but overall I didn't really feel like it was going to be a big deal, and I felt like that was going to be something that I could kind of bypass and still get the victory. Didn't really go my way. But,
I mean, I guess that depends on which way you look at it. What did you see?
Technically, according to the way they score, the guy had you, but...
I mean, you could see that after a guy that's done over 100 fights collectively, you could see that there was obviously that there was a tiny bit more experience, but the experience was, like, not entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's obviously been experienced in one area. It didn't look as, like, you had more of a range.
He knew how to win the fight.
Exactly.
Kind of like Floyd when he defends.
Exactly.
He just plays defense because he knows he's done enough to win. So, in a sense, that's what...
He's going for the win, and which is obviously what you're going for.
Right.
But, I mean, if I think of being an MMA fighter, I wouldn't think of flair necessarily. I'd like to be like that. But I think of, like, leaving a mark. Like, I think of, like, do I want to be the guy that's just like, yeah, I put him asleep by falling asleep on him? Or do I want to be the guy that, like, did I lose 3 fights getting, like, copping one to the chin, but, like, I've knocked 60 other guys out because I've been going for it, and that's what you looked like, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like,
in his defense a little bit, he showed a little more excitement in his previous fights and his other fights. And I think that he's one of those guys who really, for the most part, is willing to kind of stand and trade there. But I think it caught him a little off guard. Like you told me kind of before we started, I think he realized once that first head kick landed that, oh, this is not going to be a kickboxing match for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to lose a kickboxing match. So and like that's where that time comes in, is being able to adapt, and that's something that I might have the better skill set a little bit, but he's got the better adaptation skills.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, not definitely, but I mean, I can
no,
see
no,
what
no,
you're saying.
no.
He recognized what he had to
here's
do.
the thing: when you say definitely, it's not like a definitely. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. Well, no, you're right. It is definitely, because my adaptation should have been, okay,
Keep him up.
this is gonna take a lot of hard work right now to get him off you.
Yeah.
You have to get him off you, because if you don't get him off you, you're gonna lose. And so kind of going in, I was like, well, I knew the distance thing. I knew that if I could keep him at distance, he was going to have a long night. But in my mind, and this is why I was kind of so confident all camp, was because I thought, well, even if he gets me on the ground, I have a better ground game than him. Even if I get on bottom, I can sweep him. Yep. I didn't want to be down there, but I thought I could sweep him. Well, in his defense, I tried to sweep him a few times, and he had a lot better base than I thought he would.
Yeah.
So the stand-up game was kind of where I thought it was going to be. I knew if I had distance, I would outstrike him. What I didn't know is that if he did get me down, that I wouldn't be able to get up from underneath him, or that I wouldn't be able to sweep him. That was probably the biggest surprise to me of the whole entire thing.
Do you think maybe that you both went in underestimating each other, and then because you got that first like maybe he saw more of an opportunity because he went, okay, I know how to play the game, the ground game better, because he was visibly slower.
Oh yeah.
So he obviously went, oh great, this guy's better on his feet. All I got to do is get him back, because I mean, there was a couple of times, like if you hadn't, there was one particular punch or kick. I think it was a punch, and you slipped and just landed straight on your back. It was a kick.
The first one was a kick.
Yeah, I slipped on
both. The first one was like kind of, you know, it could have gone in, but the second one really could have, and you literally kicked yourself off the ground or punched yourself off the ground, and then you were just straight down.
Yeah. I don't think, I think he underestimated me. I didn't underestimate
5
him.
rounds, you can definitely see that. No,
Right.
honestly, like that's a feat in itself. You don't see that in the experienced guys, and
not a single one went 3 rounds.
How often do you see that? And obviously that's at a different level as well. But like, we're still talking about 240 pounds just laying on you. And I mean, I don't know about you. I've had like half that, you know, fucking laying on me, and to flip that over isn't an easy task.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is a 60-pound dog, and I'd struggle if you know, she jumped on me. So we're talking like 3-4 times that. Like,
yeah, it was. I didn't. I know I can say this with a clear conscience. I didn't underestimate him. I knew the only thing that I could say that I underestimated was the ground game, was the pressure. I knew that his basic thing was that he's super durable and that he's really tough.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because, like, and this kind of gets into some of the psychology of fighting and what happens when you're actually in there and in front of people, because my whole entire camp, like, I was, first things first, I was really confident. My whole camp, which is very rare for me. It's only something I've, like, developed in the last couple of years. And I'm sure we're going to get into how I started and things like this.
Yeah, definitely.
But I used to be very, very weak-minded, and I would go into these fights, and I would always question myself. I
hate to stop you, but that's interesting because I know your personality outside the ring, and that's not what, like, a lot of your other like opinions and things like that, and your beliefs.
But
wouldn't strike me as someone that like doubted yourself in any realm of your existence, really.
Yeah, but that's kind of a recent thing.
It's interesting.
Yeah, if you'd have known me before, I mean, and you kind of know a little bit about this, but I guess since we're going on this track, we'll back kind of way up. So,
sorry.
No, this is good. I mean, I like talking about this stuff, especially after a few beers.
Yeah.
But so recently, I've kind of developed this confidence. Part of it, I think, is because I've had so many fights, and I'm starting to realize that no matter what I do, this is going to happen.
Yep.
It's going to happen. So I have 2 choices. I can either suck it up, go in there, bite my mouth guard, and give it everything I have, or I can go in with fear, and a lot of times fear is worse than any sort of physical thing you may have.
Oh,
the mental
definitely.
part of it,
100%. No, I definitely.
Yeah, so like starting way back, well, I guess we'll kind of start when I was younger. So the whole reason that I got into fighting to begin with was because when I was in middle school and a little bit starting high school, I was bullied pretty bad. And so what ended up happening is I came to Post Falls, and long story short, kind of blossomed a little bit, kind of became an athlete, and I wasn't really popular per se, but I was kind of gained a little bit of confidence, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'd see these guys fighting on TV, and I thought to myself, you know, it'd be really cool if I learned how to fight really, really well. And then I went back and I kicked the shit out of all these guys who were bullying me.
Yeah.
And so I kind of started in a bad place, right? And then it was really weird. So I started training, and the whole time I started training, since I was pretty athletic, I became kind of athletic when I was 16, 17, and I was pretty good, right? Like even from the beginning, I was pretty good physically. Like I could sub people, I could hit hard, I could kick fast, those sorts of things. And then, but the mental part never came.
Yep.
The mental part never came.
Which is obviously obviously almost all of it in a sense.
Almost all of it,
because it's like you can go out
almost
and like lift weights, change your diet, train with better people, do that. You can adapt pretty easily in the physical, but like to actually get your mind in the game, to be like, I don't fear this guy, I just need to beat this guy. Like I need to outsmart this guy.
Exactly.
You can't really just get intelligence. You have to like experience, and then actually the only way really is to learn from your mistakes. Like it almost might be a blessing that you did lose in the way you did, because it showed that, oh no, you've got the character, you've got the stamina, you've got everything there. Now you got to work on his little technique.
Yeah.
And I mean, realistically, it's kind of could be seen as a little bit not easier, but more attainable, because practice is perfect. You can just keep practicing something, but make sure that you're with someone that actually is teaching you right, because you don't want to just. You don't want to practice consistency. You want to practice perfection.
Yeah, and I could say that if there is I'm not a big fan of consolation prizes. If there is a consolation prize in all of there is a consolation prize in all of this, it is the way that I lost. Because if you had asked me beforehand, hey, you're gonna lose. You'd rather get KO'd or subbed in front of your hometown, or would you rather lose a 5-round hard fought decision? You know, obviously I'd have to go with choice B. Yeah. But so the mental part of it. What ended up happening, I started training, and then I ended up actually running into those guys that used to do all that stuff.
Yep.
And so, yeah, there's some interesting stories with all that too. I never actually got physical with any of them. A couple of them wouldn't fight me. But, I actually let it go after that. And I kind of...
well, because you already knew. You didn't, there was nothing that needed to be said.
Yeah, that kind of was the closed door.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I still actually have some deep-seated stuff with those guys. I'll see them around town once in a while, and I'm just kind of... My first thought is, fucking whip his ass. Excuse my language.
Get a little hot.
But I do get a little hot still, but that kind of closed that door. But the funny thing is that by the time that door closed, I now had actually fallen in love with everything else. So, I started for the wrong reasons, right? It's like you start... I don't know how to explain this, but it's like you start dirt biking because you hate dirt, right? And then 2 years in, you're like, I don't care about the dirt anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
now I just love dirt bike riding.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's kind of where I went from. But even that first part of my career, even after all that stuff happened, it wasn't until I really started training at AKA and started training with Trevor and those guys. Even for the first couple years I started training with Trevor and those guys, I still was very mentally weak. Very mentally weak. So I could beat somebody in a fight physically, but they would beat me mentally. And this came down to not even in the cage. Let's say I was 6-7 years into fighting, 3 years into my pro career. Let's say somebody on the street was like, you got an issue? Let's do this. Even me mentally, I would go, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
So that kind of shows you, the physical aspect was there. I was a professional fighter, right? But the mental aspect wasn't quite there.
Yeah, still had that little bit of doubt.
I still had that worm of doubt. Yeah, I still had that worm of doubt. And then something changed. And this was a couple years ago. And something changed. And
do you think you could pinpoint it? Do you think it's your marriage or your relationship? Because I know with me, my relationship now has fully changed. It's been the major, one of the major turning points in my life, just because it's just. There's no happiness like it, and for someone to give themselves to you so completely, so vulnerable, being so vulnerable in front of you, it gives you this power that you don't want to abuse.
Yeah.
And it's really weird, because I think it makes you stronger, because it's well, this person loves me so much that I could fuck them over so easily. I could just be do whatever I want until it went away.
Yeah.
But you could manipulate it and that sort of thing, but actually having the power and realizing that you don't want to use it, like, it's kind of almost the reverse of the doubt. Like, do you think it's more like that, or do you think you just have more belief in yourself?
So, I mean, in my situation, I've never thought of it like that. I really haven't. What I can say is, I think that the reason that I became so mentally strong is a couple things, and I think that she has a lot to do with it. I think my wife has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a multitude of things. I don't think it's one thing. She has a lot to do with it because she believes in me more than anybody does. I mean,
and that's key, really.
We sat in my truck like 2 weeks before this fight, and you know, in retrospect, it's interesting, the conversation, because, you know, I kind of looked at her and I said, babe, I'm gonna be a world champion in 2 weeks. I'm gonna win. And she looked at me and she goes, I know, I've known for a while.
Yep. And,
you know, looking back and losing, it makes it, you know, a little different, but it's like, in her mind, she goes, like, there's no doubt in her mind. She knows how hard I work and things, and she's just right there, and she's always saying, no, I know how talented you are. But I think there's a multitude of things. I think that she's obviously the biggest one. I think that a change of environment a little bit. We had some people leave our team, and I love them to death. They're my friends, the guys that left. I mean, I would take a bullet for them. But I was always kind of the guy in the gym that I was the one that everybody gives shit to,
so you're
all the
bullied
time.
Again.
You've always been that.
Yeah,
guy.
like, in a
bullied,
sense,
but in a nice way. Like, they're my friends, you know what I mean?
Almost.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Well,
unfortunate, like, not in a mean way. Not in a mean way.
It's
But
hard
like
to explain.
It's like
it's
an
hard to
unknowing,
explain.
like I'm giving you shit to make you stronger, but I don't realize that your insecurities are making it feel like pain.
Yeah.
Like,
So yeah, exactly. So and so those guys, like I said, they are my great friends, and those are guys that I would take bullets for.
Yeah.
Like, right. But I was kind of always that guy, even at AKA, where they'd poke fun or poke me. Like, my nickname's Currie.
Yep.
Of all things, instead of Currie, right?
Yep.
Because they're like, oh, you got a little extra on you. We're gonna call you
Oh,
Currie,
chubby.
fighting heavyweight now, right? Well, what ended up happening is those guys left, and this sounds so bad to say this, but this is just the truth. The new guys that we got in there are a little more green, right? And so, like, this whole camp, I was kind of the top
what do you mean by
dog.
little
They
more
looked
green?
up.
Like,
They're a little more green. Like, they weren't. They're
Grass is
not.
greener
We only
type deal?
got like one pro that's in there all the time, Dakota, and then like my buddy Cameron Robinette, who's in there training with me all the time. He's an amateur still, so they're not quite. The guys that left were like seasoned pros, like.
Yeah.
And then the guys that are there now are kind of newer, fresher guys, right? So I'm kind of the
Yeah, you're
figure there
respected
now,
in a way.
right?
Like, well, you've always obviously been
You look
respected
up
because
to.
those other people wouldn't, like, your friends. They wouldn't have
but I
treated
wasn't
you like
really
that
the
unless they already respected you enough to know that you wouldn't take it like they thought.
yeah.
Could you say that, on the other hand, did you ever let them know that it was affecting you?
Oh well, they knew that it was affecting me. They don't care. They're just
Okay.
So this is
Do
like
you think
fighter
that
stuff,
built-
man.
But do you
This
think
is
that
like
built the mental stability?
so. I think that's the point. I think that
Sorry.
I think there's a couple things involved with this. I think that what they made me do is build a thick skin, right? So they made me build the thick skin. They didn't give me the confidence. They made me build the thick skin. They made me go.
They gave you the passion to want to build the confidence.
Maybe partially, yeah. That would be a
Well,
good
well,
way to put it. That would be a good way to put it.
Like,
Yeah.
Added into it. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's, like you said, a multitude of things. There's obviously your wife. There's your fucking own belief in yourself, and then there's like other, like the external environment. We are, like a product of our environment anyway.
For sure.
So if you're in a tough environment, in a tough sport, you figure that like it's gonna toughen you, like because the real weak. Maybe you didn't know you weren't weak-minded. Because maybe like your doubt had shut that off. Because a weak-minded person, in my opinion, like someone like me thinking of fighting, I'd walk away after like enough of that shit. Just because
Just the training
it wouldn't
alone.
be, it wouldn't be enough passion for me.
Yeah.
Like I'd be like, no, it's too much shit for me to deal with. I came here to do this. Clearly, it's a good like now if someone gives me shit about drumming, I'll be like, fuck you. I'll just get better.
Right.
It's different.
Right.
But like it might have singled out your like. It might have kind of got you on the track of like, oh shit, this is what I really love because I will deal with fucking anything to do this.
Right.
Like,
I think there's a point there. I think those guys, they gave me the thick skin. I think that they're probably gonna be commenting on this video like, yeah, you got thick skin because you're fat ass. No, I think they gave me the thick skin, but I think there was like an extra when I got these new teammates, and I was kind of the guy that people looked up to now. They were like, whoa, you're the seasoned pro now. You're the guy with 30 fights now. I think even that helped me even more because these guys were coming to me for advice. These guys weren't the ones kind of, you know, poking me, and these guys were the ones saying, hey man, we're here just for you for this camp. We're here just so you win.
Wow.
And so I think that helped with this camp specifically. But I think like in the past too, some stuff just changed. Like, the wife is a huge deal. That's probably number one right there.
Yep.
The teammates for this camp were kind of the icing on the cake. Like, this is it. I'm winning this, right? Even though I didn't win, but...
but see, that's the thing, man. Like, you didn't win, like... But there's a lot of people that look at that fight and just go, like, I would, like... If that fight hadn't have gone like it did, it would have been a waste of time being there.
Yeah.
Like, because, I mean... Okay, if you go for entertainment, and even though it was a lot of laying around and that on his behalf, when you got back up, like, there was name chanting, there was, like, you know, I mean, like, Jason, Derek, screaming.
There was a bunch of people to our right, ladies, guys, older people. I mean, people that I've never seen.
They know
I probably
you?
had
Like,
15 people coming to me after the fight, tell me their voice was gone.
Yeah.
Mine was.
But
well, we had to, like, I mean, we're talking your brothers here, and we had to, like, fight through people just to get to say, hey, man, like, good fight.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is family fighting to get to you, like, when you've got this many people. Like, that, like, that's what I mean with the whole, like, hometown hero style thing. Is like, hero's just someone everyone wants to believe in. Like, that's it. And, like, there was a crowd that believed in you. There wasn't anyone chanting his name. And, honestly, they were pretty good because they didn't even really boo him. Like, they did when they said his name and stuff, but they were never really... Like, it was respectful, like, in a lot of ways. Like, it was kind of better because if they'd have been booing him, I feel like that would have given him even more.
Yeah.
But because they kept quiet, they're like, oh, shit, no one... Like, he would have, in his head, I believe, would have been like, oh, no one gives a shit that I'm here. And then all of a sudden, you'd win and it'd be, like, an eruption. Like, and it'd just be like... And I haven't experienced... Like, I've never actually... That's the first time in any sport that I've ever watched. And I, like, follow teams, and I love soccer and football, depends where you want to say it, but I love all that shit. But that's the first time I've actually ever been like, I hope this guy wins. Like, other times I'm like, I hope my team wins. Like, I like them. If they don't, fuck it. But, like, that was the first time, and I thought you had it. Like, I was, like, in a weird way, and I'm not, like, strictly religious. Like, I believe in all of them, but, like, I was almost praying. Like, I was like, come on, Joe. I'm like, fuck. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You've won this. Like,
I was praying too.
I mean?
I was like, come on, God, give me some energy. Please. I need just a little bit more oxygen. Please.
And maybe, like, that whole idea is that was the people answering the prayer for you. Because I'll tell you what, there was a couple of times you looked like, oh, shit. And I'd said it to Jason. I was like, man, he can't do another one. Like, he can't. He's gassed.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, everyone screamed your name. And, like, I swear I could almost see it change in you. You just went, oh, fuck this. What am I doing?
I almost gave up a few times. I did. And I've told that to a couple of people. There's like
that's a big thing to say. Like, I mean, that's
I gotta finish this though. The whole mindset. No, it's okay. Before I lose it. So the mindset really came a couple of years ago. I've been in so many fights. I think the number of fights really is different for a lot of people. Some people in their first and second fight can develop this, but it took me 30 to do it. Is you get in so many fights that you realize this is gonna happen. There's gonna be a beginning. There's gonna be an end. There's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. It's going to happen. You don't have any choice over it. And there's going to be pain involved.
Yep.
And I think once you accept that and the nerves kind of die down a little bit, that's when that mental, okay, I have two choices. I can either be a little bitch about this, and I say that like in the best way that I can.
Yeah.
Or I can bite down on my mouth guard and take this on like a man.
Yeah.
So I think that like there's something that changed in my mind. It was a couple of years back. I lost a fight, and I lost it because... it was down in Boise. I didn't lose it because the guy was necessarily better than me, but I knew the guy was training in Las Vegas with a bunch of good guys, right?
Yeah.
And it just mentally, I went in there and I was just, I just froze. And then all of a sudden I'm in the second round, and it really was a pretty close fight.
Yeah.
And then he beat me, and I remember thinking to myself, like, you only lost because of you.
Yeah.
You didn't lose because...
I can see it. Like, I see what you mean.
Yeah, you didn't lose because he was better than you. You lost because...
You were better than you.
Exactly, yeah. Like, your mind let it get to you. And so, from that point on, I'm not saying that I haven't lost since then. I lost since then, obviously, but it's been different losses. It hasn't been really my mind.
Molly, no. Sorry.
It hasn't... It's fine. I love her. It hasn't really been my mind. It's mistakes, little mistakes here, bad weight cut here. So things like that, taking a fight on 9 days notice, stuff like that. But Yeah, so that's kind of the mental thing. And then what we were talking about with
giving up on yourself.
Do what now?
You said you almost gave up.
Oh yeah, so I gotta say something that I haven't told anybody yet. I told you I was gonna give you some news on here.
Breaking news.
This is not something that I haven't told anybody. I've told people close to me. Obviously, my wife knows about it. But I haven't said anything about it because I didn't want to be one of those people that it seems like they're making excuses.
Yep.
Because in my mind, I think one of the worst things that you can be, and I've kind of learned this over the past 3 years from Trevor and from my teammates and things, is being a victim.
Yeah.
Don't be a victim. Don't give yourself a way out. Don't give yourself like an easy option. So about 2 days before the fight, I started kind of feeling a little bit of sensitivity in my mouth, a little bit on the left side right here, and kind of told my wife, I'm like, some sensitivity. I don't know why I feel really sensitive to hot and cold. I didn't really think a whole lot about it. So day before the fights was weigh-ins. I weighed in about 7 o'clock. I had to do my post-fight interview, and I did my interview and my photo shoot or whatever, and then what ended up happening was I went home and I got to bed at about midnight or so, and I kind of dozed in and off. I didn't really get any really good sleep, but I kind of dozed at 1 o'clock in the morning. So this is the morning of the fight. I woke up and I was in just throbbing pain. And I told my wife, I said, I don't know what to do. I said, I mean, I can call my dentist, but they're not going to answer the phone. So at 1 a.m., I actually called my dentist, and somebody answered, which was like, what in the world? Well, apparently they sent me to an emergency line, right? So a lady answers. I told her what's going on, and she said to me, she goes, well, I'm going to send this to your dentist, and they're going to get a hold of you.
Sorry.
I didn't get any sleep the night of the fight. The night before the fight. No sleep. So I kind of dozed.
And you still went 5 rounds.
This is even better. So I kind of dozed off at about 6 a.m. I woke up to a text message at 6:45, and it was from my dentist. My dentist said, we can get you in at 7 o'clock. So I woke up, I got all my clothes on. I went to the dentist. They did x-rays. This is the morning of the fight. They said, we have to do an emergency root canal right now.
Really?
Yeah. So I asked him. I said, well, I have a world title fight tonight. Like, what? I mean, what do you think we should do? And they said, well, you're not going to fight. And I said, no, you don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm going to fight. You just tell me what's going to happen. So they said, well, you think you're in more pain now, or have you had a root canal? I said, well, yeah. They, well, what do you think the root canal would be less pain? I said, honestly, at this point, I think, yeah, it was that bad.
Wow.
I mean, they took a metal thing and started tapping my teeth. And the one that had the little cavity underneath here, when they tapped it, I reacted so strongly, and the pain was so terrible for about 5 minutes. I was grabbing the doctor as tight as he had to pull my hands off. So they go, we have to do this root canal. So they did a root canal. I got out of the dentist about 10 a.m. I went, and I knew I was in trouble because I'm like, there's no way that I can get enough sleep.
Yep.
So what I did is I gathered everything for the fight, my shorts. I went to the gym. I grabbed my mitts, my pads, all the corner stuff. And then what I did was I went home and I fell asleep. I slept from about 12:30 to 2:30. And I woke up wide awake at 2:30 because I had to be down to the casino by 4:30, and I just couldn't sleep anymore. It was the middle of the day. So I got about a total, if I had to say a total number of sleep, no REM sleep, but a total of probably 3 hours and a root canal the day of the fight.
Damn.
Wow.
That is impressive, honestly.
Yeah. So that's not an excuse. And so that's the other thing I have to say is because the only reason that I'm bringing this up right now is because I've had quite a few people who've come to me and mentioned my cardio. Yeah. And they were just, well, you look like you're a little sluggish. You look like you kind of gas pretty quick. And in my mind, I was kind of like, you have no idea. Yeah. But I've heard enough of it, and I'm like, you know what? There's no excuse. I lost. I went and I fought. I signed a contract and I fought and I lost. Okay. But just so you know, stop talking about my cardio because there's things that happen in people's life that you will never know about, and so it is. What it is.
That's partly what this is all about. Is like letting people know like what's actually underneath everyone. You know, like we're all fighting some demons, and usually the stuff that we're like you said, you're fighting is a byproduct of bullying. Like, which is a weird thing to think of for me. Looking like I said, knowing you outside of even fighting and everything, I'm like, I can now look back and see like, oh, okay, well, I could see how it got you. You know, it pushed you there. Cause but I can't imagine you being bullied.
Yeah, right.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah, I mean that was a long time ago. It's not a sore subject or anything anymore. I've actually thought about doing like, you know, talking to kids about stuff like that because I think it would be kind of cool. You know, definitely. I know like in today's day and age, there's a huge push against it and stuff, but it always happens. Yeah. You know, and
you can't. Kids are cruel.
Can't stop. Yeah. Oh, they're unreal, man. I'm like,
they're not really cruel. They're just honest, and that's the thing, man. You always see it with little kids, and they just say the most blatant things.
Right.
You're just like, well, you're not wrong. But like you shouldn't have said it like that. But then you can't say don't say it like that.
Well, it's like if someone's ugly, man, and you're like, well, you're ugly. It's like, okay, but you don't need to tell them that.
Yeah, you know I think they already know. Like most people know.
Like most of the things you tell people, they already have kind of a sense of themselves. And I know not everybody, but you know,
I think that's why we get defensive.
And they've already heard it before,
right?
More than likely,
right?
Well, definitely.
Yeah,
But I think that's what the whole defense is. The defense mechanism is just you not able to accept something that maybe you are or something that is affecting you. Mm-hmm. And really that comes back to, well, why haven't you changed? Like, you know, like, I mean, at the end of the day, we can only control our lives, really. We can affect other people's lives. So you want to be positive outward, but you want to make sure that you're looking after yourself as well.
For sure.
And like I know with what I went through a couple of months ago, and like my like awakening was all because of just stupid denials, like shit that went back. That like, why am I lying about this shit? Like no one would ever. But you sometimes you can't even really come out and say exactly what you've done or what shaped you, because you got to make sure they know what kind of person you are, because a lot of people will judge instantly.
Yeah.
But then you can keep going down this rabbit hole of, well, if they're judging you because they haven't talked to you enough and they don't know who you are, well, is that just the trash taking itself out like a little quicker than usual?
Yeah.
Like, I mean...
It's funny you mention that because there's something actually I totally forgot about until you just said that. But it's funny how people judge without knowing.
Yeah.
Because... Well, like the cardio thing was one thing, which is whatever. I don't care. You can only judge somebody based on what you see, and they didn't see that.
Exactly.
So I had somebody, my wife told me, she goes, I could not believe this after your fight, when people were coming up to me and trying to shake my hand and things. And she went to the bathroom, and somebody had said they were talking, and she didn't know who it was, but they said, they were talking to each other, and they said, no wonder Jordan likes to fight so much. Look at how many people were there to give him attention after the fight. And like she told me it, and I was like,
wow, that's interesting.
Like, man, that's such a low thing to say about somebody that you obviously don't know.
Well, yeah,
you obviously don't know.
And what I hear is the opposite. What I hear is like they don't have the balls to go out there and do it, or they don't have something that they believe in.
Right.
So they're just going to like, well, I better bring him down to my level. Because, and they'd probably be the same kind of people, possibly, like this is a bit judgmental too, but they could be the same sort of people that just go up and be like, you fucking lost, you suck.
Yeah.
Right. Like that kind of thing. So
I just thought it was incredible. When
I like attention, like
they probably have a problem with
that. And that's a fine line between, I guess.
Here's my loves in life, right? I love my wife, okay? I love fighting, and I love hunting.
Yep.
Right? So tell me, out of those three things, which one can you tell me is like, you just are looking for attention? Yeah, when I'm in the middle of the woods alone, I'm just looking for people to come up to me and rub my back, right? Yep. Or when I'm with my wife, I'm just looking for people to go, you're such a great person. It's like, dude, you're an idiot. Yeah. I don't care about people's attention. All my fights, dude, they've been out of town. I love fighting out of town. Yeah. I don't have to fight in front of any of you guys. You guys never hear about it. Win or lose doesn't matter. It's like, dude, if I wanted the attention, I'd be fighting on every King of the Cage every single time, busting it up over Facebook. The only reason I even promoted this one over Facebook was because of pressure for ticket sales. You want to try to sell as many tickets as you can because, we want to make sure the show keeps coming back around. Do I care? I care a little about my sponsors. because they pay me. They're great people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as far as like the attention is concerned, I could give a shit less.
Right.
Do you think
people care
now, after seeing that fight though, like get rid of the attention side of it and actually take it from more of a like, for lack of a better word, maybe like a metaphysical style thought? Do you think that maybe you took some of the energy from, like, do you think you feed off the energy?
For
like,
sure.
because I mean, you say it like that, and I understand that. I totally understand where you're coming from. It's like, because I've been accused of like doing things for attention. I'm like, no, I'm just doing it because I want to do it, and like I really don't give a shit. It's you that gives a shit because you're not out there doing what you believe in or doing whatever you want that isn't affecting other people.
Exactly.
Like I've literally been called a black person because I have dreadlocks. Like, which is the weirdest, like,
So
and not in the nicest way.
Because that's actually started with white people. We do know this, right? Remember the kid that got accused for cultural appropriation down in San Francisco?
No.
Got beat up by some black people because he was culturally appropriating dreadlocks. Dude, dreadlocks started before black people with the Romans. I think it was the Romans and the Greeks actually started dreadlocks.
Really?
So for you to be accused of trying to be black because you have dreadlocks is quite funny because that's not a black cultural thing.
It wasn't trying. It was in the middle of work, and someone said to one of the other associates, and it was middle of summer, so I was a little more tan.
This is a good bridge. Now we're going from fighting to social justice warriors. This is my special. You think I'm good at fighting? You just wait, buddy. You just wait.
No, I'm just saying, it's just interesting, like what people see from just, well, I know that a certain category has this, and it's, I guess the black-white thing is a sore subject at the moment with what's going on, but honestly it needs to be talked about, because
for sure,
like, who the fuck is making it a problem? Like, I don't know about you guys. I honestly don't know about you guys, but I don't understand. Like, it's judging someone for the outside, like, just like saying that you're doing it for attention.
Yeah.
It'd be like saying the same thing, like, you're different because you want to be noticed. And it's like, well, you don't have a choice, and you're a good person underneath. Why don't you... I always just believe if someone judges you for your exterior, my thing is they just haven't talked to you enough.
Yeah.
They just don't know you.
I think that's a valid thing. I'm like, you know, we kind of live in a span now where it's like, don't judge people at all. And I think that's bullshit too. Like, if somebody murders somebody, you're going to judge them, right? If somebody does something bad, you should judge them. However, I think you're right. If you don't know somebody's soul, if you don't know somebody's heart, why are you judging them? You know what I mean? If you just see their exterior, why are you judging them? And like on a deeper level with this kind of stuff, I think it's really, really interesting because these people that are doing this, they never judge the individual. They always judge the collective. So it's like, we're going to, like you said, with the groups. So this is like getting where we didn't want to go, where we're talking about political stuff. And I won't get deep into this, but
I think like it's stuff that needs to be talked. Like,
it
this
is.
is the whole idea of this. Is because people
the,
can't shut us down.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Let's talk about
what are
it.
you gonna do?
We're friends. We're not going to stop being friends because we have different opinions. But who knows? Maybe we'll get to an agreement, and people will go. And all it takes is a couple of people going, "No, that's a good point. Maybe I'll just think about it that way." They don't have to agree. Yeah. They don't have to be in agreement. Yeah. But they might go, "That's a valid point. I've never..." Because your perspective is what makes you you. My perspective is what makes me me.
Yeah.
But to make us all one, like to collectively work as like a planet, we have to have some sort of generalized like idea of like, well, this is wrong. Like, we all know murdering's wrong.
Right.
So like when we do it, it's an extreme situation, or it's an extremely usually sick person. Yeah. Like, it's an extreme. Yeah. But the general public knows, well, don't kill someone.
Yeah. Well, I think if you look at all these issues, like you're talking about the dreadlocks and things, is these people with the groups, they have a collective mindset, right? So their mindset is grouping, right? Yeah. You're not an individual, you're a black person. You're not an individual, you're a white person. Yeah. You're not an individual, you're an Australian, right? So this is something that I've heard this quoted before. I can't name the quote, I could probably Google it, but you cannot claim to be for minorities, right? For minority people, black people, Mexicans, anybody that's a minority, or Indians, anything like that. You cannot claim to be for minorities if you have a collectivist mindset, which means if you look at people in the group that they're in, you cannot claim to be for minorities, because the greatest minority that exists in today's day and age is the individual, right? How can you claim to be for minorities when you hate individualism?
That's an interesting...
Makes no sense, right? You can't sit there and, well, I'm for black people, and then you generalize black people, right? Yep. So now you put them in this little group. So do you care about them as an individual? Well, no, I just care that they're black. And this comes down to that big thing of like social justice. So social justice is the antithesis to individual justice. What social justice says is it doesn't matter what individual actions you've done. What matters is this broad social group that you're a part of. And that matters more than who you are as an individual, right? Which is why I absolutely hate the term social justice, because we should not care about social justice. Social justice doesn't matter. What matters is individual justice. Has this person been given justice under the law, or have they been given what are you going to do for social justice? What are you going to do? You want to give out reparations? I mean, what's the solution to this? Is the solution to correct for past injustices by stealing wealth out of people's homes and giving it back to them? I mean, there you can go on and on and on, and it's like, let's talk about individual justice. Let's talk about individual justice.
And it's interesting you say the taking wealth out, because in Australia, we did that. We apologised to the Aboriginals for the stolen generation, they called it, and stuff like that. We apologised for doing what we did, which is similar to what, the African Americans went through. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the same thing. Like, we stole their land, slavery, that sort of thing. And when we said sorry, they turned around and said, well, you owe us. And yes, we did, but they, instead of just kind of going, well, none of this really affects us now. Thanks for the apology. I forgive you, like a human to a human, an individual would to another individual.
Yeah.
They kind of turned around and said, well, now you owe us even more, even though you've already given us a little extra. Like, kind of like the Indian tribes around here. Like, they get a little bit extra. They get the casinos, exactly. They get the land, they get that. But not only did they kind of have that, they asked for even more, they just created the reverse problem.
Exactly.
And it's this power struggle of like, well, you owe me, no, now you owe me, now you owe me.
Yeah.
And this is, I had a conversation with another roommate, is if we say, okay, all the people, the minorities and stuff that have been affected by this, just drop it. We say just drop, like literally clean slate, just drop it. Well, that's not fair, because you're going to have like a bunch of like white people, or even like there's probably, I don't even know if how Hispanic people view African American. I don't even know how they view it. Is it the same as a white person, or are they just classed in that group as well as just put down?
Yeah.
Because like America is, it's like Eminem says, it's white America. Like, I mean, realistically, we are lucky. Like, I mean, I said this the other day, being especially Australian in America, but a white male, no matter what you say, you're almost the middleman. You're not really judged unless you do something wrong or you look a particular way. Like, because I mean, for me, whatever you class like your white trash, so to say, and there is like a lower class, there just has to be.
Yeah.
But whatever you class that is, like, if they're a great person, well, I don't care what they look like. Like, I don't care if your idea is like like I know people that live in trailers because they choose to. I would live in a shipping container if I had my way. So it's nothing to do with that, but generally what I found coming to America is that they say trailer trash. That's your term for it, and it's another grouping.
Yeah.
Like, it goes, well, I know good people that choose to live in a trailer because they can own it. Are they trailer trash because they live in a trailer and you don't know that they don't want to pay for a mortgage when they don't need it?
Yeah.
Like, it's this continual like spiral of like, why don't we just actually, and this is what this whole thing's about, is let's talk. Like people probably know you and never knew you were bullied, like me. Like, never knew that.
Yeah.
Now we know that about you. You go, oh wow, this makes him as a fighter even better, because like he can't, like, now we've got what the view usually is for black people, and it is true, is underprivileged generally. Like, and that's our fault. Like, well, it's society's fault for like continuing this stuff to just go on, Yeah. So I don't know.
I've got like a 2-page essay in my head right now. We try to get some of it out. So
hey, we got a lot of time. This is what it's about. Like, we've got to get some people think. Okay, look, there's going to be the haters, just like there's going to be people that go,
for sure,
I fully agree with you for the wrong reasons. Yeah. And then there's going to be the haters that go, I hate you because you said it.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be the people that just go, eventually they're going to go, well, that's a good point. So let's talk about this. Like, what can we do? And I think it's the most simple thing in the world is talk.
Yeah.
Like, why are we scared to go up to someone just like, look at most white American females, they want to get as brown as they possibly can. They pay to go to these, in my opinion, these cancer-filled tanning beds just to look closer to that skin color. Yet you go one shade too dark, and then all of a sudden you're a piece of shit. Like that, that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, how can the fine line be so, like, literally on pigmentation?
So you mean they go like one skin too dark and they're looked at like they're black? Is that you
mean? No. I just mean that, like, we're almost aiming to be as dark as possible. But yet if you got too dark, then all of a sudden you run the risk of being treated like a totally different person. Like,
so I'm gonna try to get some of this out. We'll try. Okay. Let's talk about the past injustices thing. Okay. So Dinesh D'Souza has got some really, really good commentary on this, and he's an immigrant from India. Yep. I don't know if you've ever seen it before or seen him.
I've heard his name, but I may have, but I don't know.
He's great. I don't agree with him on everything. But when you're dealing with, I'll kind of directly quote him actually. When you're dealing with what we call the conquest ethic of the past, which is these people invaded these people and took their land. These people invaded these people and took their land. There's good examples all over the world of history where these injustices happen, right? You go in, you take somebody's land. Where he's from, India, he has a whole list of, okay, well, the English came in and took this, but before them it was conquered by the Mongols, and before then it was conquered by these people, right? So part of you have two choices, right? When you're dealing with this conquest ethic of the past and these injustices that have happened, you in essence have two choices. The first choice is you establish equal rights under the law, right? So you say, okay, we've had these past things. We've had Jim Crow. We've had KKK, this slavery. Let's stop.
Yep.
Let's stop. Let's give everybody equal rights under the law, okay? The second thing that you can do, which in essence requires you to go into people's homes and to take their property, is to try to correct for the past mistakes of history.
Yeah.
Now, when you do this, if you want to try to say, okay, well, and this is another problem with this, is if you want to say, okay, well, the black people were slaves, right? So we have to give them reparations. We have to pay them for this injustice, okay? So now you've decided that you want to go back 140 years, okay? Yep. Okay, well, why are we limiting it to this country then? Let's go back even farther. Let's make sure that the Chinese, for building the railroads, are paid the way they should be paid. Let's make sure that the Irish, who came over here as slaves, are paid the way they should be paid. Now, according to a lot of these people who are very open borders, okay, which I'm a libertarian. If you got rid of the welfare state, we could have an argument about it. But long story short, if you guys want to open the borders, okay, well, what about dealing with the black slave traders that took them from Africa, who had them in Africa? What about paying the Jews for being slaves and helping build the pyramids? Where do you stop? Where do you stop this timeline? So it's a very convenient timeline to go 140 years. Here's the stopping point. Yeah. This is where we're going to focus on right here.
Never thought about
it. But what's how can you claim morality by putting your own arbitrary stopping point on history and going, these are the injustices we're going to account for, right? And anything past that doesn't matter. That's too far ago. Why is it too far ago?
So do you think that's the last time they dropped it, or the last time that something severe changed?
Last time they dropped...
just went like the Irish and the Chinese just went, fuck it, I can't be bothered arguing over this anymore, let's just get along.
Yeah,
and dropped it. Yeah.
What? Or you think those people did that?
Well, all I'm saying is, like, if we get to this point now, like, the only way to get rid of the whole is we either correct it with giving the minorities something back.
Yeah.
Or do you think, like, I've also got a friend, like, Sean, the roommate, he also said that, like, all that the minorities want is someone just to be like, hey, sorry, and treat them fairly. Like, that's all they want. How true is that? How deep does that go? Like, is that because I know that we're going to go over to these very underprivileged areas, and I don't know if that, are they going to feel that way? Is sorry enough? Because, like, we have abused, like, there is cases where, like, it has been abused. I mean, we see it. It's like, I'm all for, like, the police and everything like that. I really am. And a lot of the situations you can't tell. A lot of you don't really know. Like, you can look at all the footage. You can look at everything. You don't know what they're saying. You don't know the body language. Just a look in someone's eye can give you enough information. So it's very hard to look outward in. Do you think that'd be enough for, like, everyone? Like, do you think there'd be enough of the population that are affected by it to go, guys, do you think they turn around and go, look, they've said sorry, we just just shut the fuck up. Now you're making a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you think that it would continue on? Because like
I'm
just as against the Nazi like regime thing.
Yeah.
As anything, like this isn't a racist. I don't believe in race. Like we're a human race. We're one race.
Yeah.
Like I mean, if you're going to use the word race, well, let's use it correctly and go. Like you said, why do we have a stopping point? Well, we have a pinnacle too. Like the epitome of any race is the human one.
Yeah.
So individualism, like why?
Well, I think that's kind of the point that is being made is that first of all, I don't think that just saying sorry would be enough to stop what they want. That's not going to happen. The second thing is I don't think that anybody who's alive in today's day and age should have to say sorry. And people are going to disagree with me on this, and I don't really care. I shouldn't have to apologize for things that I didn't do. And this comes back to that collectivist mindset. I should apologize because I'm a white male. So I'm now in a group, right? And I should apologize to you because you're a black male and your ancestors did okay. So now I'm in a social group. See, social justice. I should apologize to your social group. No. I as an individual didn't do shit to you.
Yeah.
I as an individual didn't do shit to you. You as an individual didn't get shit done to you at all. Why should I have to apologize for? Why should I be forced by people? And this is the best quote I've actually heard on this. Let me try to get it right though. I'm forced to apologize for my ancestors' actions by people who won't take responsibility for their children's.
Say again. Sorry.
I'm forced to apologize for my ancestors' actions by people who will not take responsibility for their own children's.
Yeah.
In other words,
yeah.
You're telling me that 3 generations ago, you can't even pin it down, but somebody I was related to did, and this is more stuff that's gets into the whole argument thing because percentage-wise there was quite a few free black people who owned slaves in the South as well, and a very, very minor number of white people who actually owned them in the South. I'm not saying that slavery is a bad thing. I'm just putting this into perspective for you.
Yeah.
So somewhere, according to you, my ancestor did something which you can't prove, and I'm supposed to apologize to you for something I didn't do, for something that you didn't get done to you. Now, even if you want to take that route, right? Even if you want to take that route and you want to say, okay, well, it's institutional racism. This is this new big term, which is, well, you might not have done it and we might not have been the recipients of it. However, the structure that was put into place caused me to be in poverty now and caused you to not be in poverty. Well, there's a couple arguments with that. And the first thing is, since the 1960s, we have done absolutely everything we can to change that. Right. We've filled inner city communities with welfare, which has done the exact opposite. Lyndon B. Johnson, and I'm just going to speak my mind here. I don't care what people say. Lyndon Johnson was quoted talking about sending his government agents into the inner cities and making sure, and this is way deep down the rabbit hole, but let's go there. So he put his agents into inner cities, and what he was making sure was that if there was a household with 2 parents, he would take the men out of the house. He told the women, he said, well, you guys need to get a divorce. If you get a divorce, you can qualify for welfare, right? If you qualify for welfare, everything's going to be great, right?
And he was the president at the time.
He was the president. Well, I think he might have done this before he was president. I have to Google it, but he was involved with it. He was quoted saying, we're going to have these niggers voting Democrat for the next 200 years. He would fill the inner cities with welfare. The single motherhood today in the black community is at 71%. Now, in all the studies that I've read, if you could link poverty to anything, okay, not race, whatever, if you could bring poverty to anything, it's single motherhood rate. If you look at the single motherhood rate in the white community, it's very close to the poverty rate with the single motherhood rate in the black community. The problem is the black community has a 71% single motherhood rate. And the reason that they have a single motherhood rate is because of the pushing of all of these things, all these policies, in essence. And I'm not saying that the Republicans are not guilty by any means. This has been a two-sided thing. This is why I'm a libertarian. But this has been structurally put into place. Oh, we're going to help you. We're going to help you. No, you're going to keep them dependent. But this again, yes.
By libertarian, you mean like in the middle?
Like, yeah, I'm like, I want a government that's this big. Like,
yeah, okay,
this big, right?
I
think welfare should be abolished. So there you go. I think it should all be private charity. I would be the first one to help people in need. I have before. I've left money in people's.
So what about disability? Is that,
yeah,
Social Security disability.
Yeah, so...
But even knocking out welfare, that would be like a big chunk. So disability would actually get... Well, you know, someone who can't walk...
Yeah, literally can't
like,
work
deserves a
at
little
all.
bit more, like, because they still got to get through life. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
You can't just kill them. You
Well,
can't
yeah,
just
without
force
giving
them
it...
to
That's
starve.
inhumane. So, I mean...
Yeah, so all these things, if you join a lot of like libertarian forums, they'll discuss all these things on there in depth. You can go quite down quite a rabbit hole. But I think the best discussion I've heard is from Ben Shapiro on all these things, which is that so in a libertarian society you have to have a thing called social fabric, and what this means is that instead of just people being separate from each other all the time, you have to rely on your friends and your family and your community
Definitely.
for a lot of these things. And one thing about this is that this is kind of a broader thing, but if I wasn't taxed so heavily, right, I would be more willing to give to personal charity because I would have more money to do so. Now, that aside from things is those should be the three pillars, right? Friends, family, synagogues, churches, whatever you want to call them, community centers, those should be the things that provide for people in need. What ends up happening is when the government is that replacement, right? And Ron Paul's discussed this in depth is he says a term which says the program creates the need, right? So if you develop a program, okay, and you're the state and you go, we're going to develop this program. It's going to be called disability, right? Anybody who goes and says they're disabled and gets a doctor's note can qualify for this, okay?
Yep.
When you create the program, you're now creating the need. So the need wasn't there before. But now people go, the program exists, right? I don't like the color white. I can't work in a building that's got white walls. I'm going to go to the doctor and I'm going to get on this disability, right? So the program is actually creating the scenario where people go and qualify for these things, which is why a welfare state will never work with open borders, because when you have a welfare state and open borders, people are incentivized to come here and sit on the system. Exactly. Now, the other argument with this is, so that's kind of the moral argument to why the government shouldn't be involved in private charity. The other argument is that when you tax somebody, taxation, it's theft, right? So it's an involuntary payment to government for services you may or may not receive. In other words, if I don't pay my taxes, I will go to jail. Yep. They will take me and put me in chains, and they will put me in a cage. So I don't have a choice in it. Now people say, well, but you get those services. May or may not.
Right.
Yeah,
and I'm not
Spokane's roads.
Yeah, right, right, exactly. So I don't know. I'm long-winded on this one, but it's not a voluntary transaction, so it's theft. Do I believe some theft has to happen in a civilized society? I do. I'm very small on this, by the way. Roads should be privatized. I'm even to the point where I think police should be privatized. The only one
Would
I can't...
that create the same situation as the prisons, though?
Right. The
Having-
prisons
No.
are crazy.
So
it is ridiculous.
This is where I draw the line. This is why I'm a minarchist instead of what they call anarcho-capitalist. Is I don't believe the courts should be privatized. I believe the courts should make the laws, right? And I don't believe
the step in between.
Yeah, because I think if it was all anarchy and you just had you had a court system that was also privatized, maybe you do run into that same issue. Maybe not. That's just a debate that I've kind of dabbled into, but I don't know enough about it. But with privatizing the police, basically what you do is like take this house, right? Instead of paying taxes, what you would do is you would just buy a police plane, and you would go, anybody that breaks into my house, I can call 811 or 711, and these people are going to be at my door. Now, what ends up happening is with any business, they have now an incentive because of profit. If they don't get to your door fast enough, you are not going to renew your contract with them. Right. So now they're competing with each other to provide the best service, just like every other business in the world. And so that actually makes it more efficient.
That's interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
So and it would be based on private property. Like, okay, you're going to protect my private property here. Maybe you have a house across the river. You want them to protect that one too. Just like car insurance, anything like that. So it's an incentive-based system where they have to give you a good quality service in order for you to earn
because
their
at
business.
the moment they don't really have to earn it. They just
Exactly. Yeah,
they're going to get paid regardless of what they
exactly.
do.
They have what we call a monopoly on force, which means that it doesn't matter. Their check's signed either way. They don't have to provide a good service. They don't have to provide they don't have to provide anything really. Right. So that's why I think like I started off this idea with like fire stations because I read a bunch of forums. I'm like, that'd be a great way to run a fire station. Like instead of them just being inefficient, you would have to be efficient. You would have to, otherwise you lose your customers. You go out of business, just like any other business. So and then I started thinking about police, and I'm like,
imagine the change in medical that you could have from it.
Well, the change in so that's the whole. Here we go. We're really getting into deep stuff now. So
I gotta go to the toilet quickly.
do it,
You
man.
talk to
Do
Jason.
it. I know. I gotta get another beer, dude. Because now I'm getting really talkative. So I'll check my phone.
Well, while he's
He's going
gone,
nuts.
well, yeah, while he's gone, what do you think, McGregor or Floyd? Quick analysis. That's a question two or three people have asked.
I think that I think Floyd's gonna win. I don't want him to. I think that Conor's got a lot of things going in his favor right now. I actually think that what did this video not share? I gotta share it. Hold on.
Even the newest video with Conor getting rocked apparently in sparring practice.
I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah, I saw. Well, I didn't see the video, but I saw a headline of him, and it wasn't the guy that quit training with him.
Oh, it wasn't the Paul Milagro guy?
No, it was a
I haven't
different
seen
guy.
that video. I haven't seen it, so I'd have to see it. So a couple things. Well, I got to answer this guy's question first because it says Social Security, we paid into that. So you're exactly right. If you paid into it, you should be able to take out what you want or what you were entitled to because that's your money. You're 100% right on that. However, going forward in the future, we should be able to opt in or opt out of it. So I shouldn't be forced to pay into something. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you opt in and you pay whatever, then you have the right to that money. That's your money.
Right. You don't get to keep going after.
You can't just like opt out and then be like, well, this is mine. Well,
right.
no. I mean, you know, or if you opted out but you already put $2,000 in, then you can take that $2,000 out.
Right.
I mean, it should be an account, just like any private investing would be. Obviously, we see how good the government is at stuff with their mismanagement of funds.
Yeah.
Social Security's going broke. Huh. Anyways.
Yeah, there won't be Social Security by the time.
Yeah. So, but I do think that. I think that Floyd's gonna win, but I think that Conor's got some things going for him. Floyd's 42. He's coming off of 2 years with no. Okay, let's see. I gotta share this. Okay. There we go.
I just think the biggest thing for Floyd or Conor, like we mentioned earlier, is the glove, the 8 ounces instead of 10. I believe I saw that Floyd has never fought a professional match with anything lighter than 10-ounce gloves.
Social
yeah.
Security is
So
not welfare.
I addressed that when you went to the bathroom. Oh, thank you. Look at it. You got me beer and everything.
Yeah.
So Floyd's 42. Floyd's coming off 2 years with nothing. Getting old. Okay. The 10 to the 8 ounce gloves, huge. The other thing's Conor southpaw.
Yeah, how big is that? Because for a guy that doesn't understand any of this, I've never been involved in any of it. I think, well, what's 2 ounces? I understand it's going to be quicker.
Yeah.
But is 2 ounces
padding.
like taking
It's
like
padding.
like 300 horsepower out of, you know?
Well, it's
like,
not that big, but where I think the difference is going to be is when you have like 16 or 14 ounce boxing gloves on, you can really block your face really well, and not a lot of stuff can get through. Like, you can't land a lot of clean shots because the gloves are so puffy.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
So defensively, so that okay. See, that makes. See, I didn't understand that.
That's another
Gives
reason.
So that
Conor-
totally makes.
Yeah, it gives
like, that
Conor a
brings
thing to
him
land
down a
that
bit.
left hand, you know.
wish
So
I
there's a
could
couple
know.
couple shots that might actually land a little better. Like if he throws the hook with big gloves on, he can go here, and even right here, he's gonna cover all these like this knockout point back here. With 8 though, it comes a little susceptible. So you have like a couple things about it, which is that lower weight obviously is gonna be quicker, faster, less padding, which is gonna be the big thing.
You do look like Chuck Liddell.
So less padding, quicker. But I think the biggest thing is the defense. You won't be able to defend the way you.
So
should
do you think
before.
it evens the fight up, or do you think it gives McGregor a 1-up?
No, I don't think it even evens it. I think Floyd's still gonna beat him. And trust me, I'm just listening to things that Conor has going his way. If I were to take all the things I just said that Conor has going his direction, I'm still saying 70-30 Floyd in a straight boxing
Really?
match.
Yeah.
I hope Conor head kicks him.
I hope
Conor head
wins.
kicks him. Head kick KO, dude.
yeah.
I would
So
jump
would
out
you
of my
still- would
seat,
you still
man.
get paid?
He'd lose $100 million, and I would be the happiest person alive just to watch that guy on the ground. You know? He's a tool, man. I'm sorry. He's just such a tool.
Oh, Floyd, for sure.
Yeah, he's such a tool. Connor's kind of a tool too. So it's fun to watch.
Depending on your belief system, like I have a weird belief system. I believe like
you got like, 2 beers for me. What the?
Well, just because it's gonna, like a collective consciousness idea. Like I believe that, like, knowingly or unknowingly, if there's a percentage that believes in something strong enough, it becomes true. Like if we could get to every person on the planet and say we want a frog with butterfly wings, and we all thought about it, eventually, and I'm not saying instantly, but I'm saying eventually it would evolve into it because our ideas control the whole situation. Like I think, because even if you go back on science, and I've said this before, if you go back on science, it's still theoretical. Like science you can't prove it, even though you go to the base level of it, you still can't prove it. There's always an unknown. There's always someone's idea. So do you think maybe the idea, because we become whatever our idea of ourselves is.
Yeah.
What if there's enough ideas, like, and that's the God idea, is just, we are, like, there is one God, but it's all of us acting as one.
So, let me put a disclaimer here, because I'm a cool Christian. I'm not gonna throw my beliefs down your throat. So I believe in God. I'm a Christian.
Oh, and I believe in Jesus. So don't get me wrong. I'm not against religion at all.
Well, you look like him.
No.
I mean,
I believe in Jesus. I just don't believe in the institutionalism of religion.
Yeah.
Like the actual structure of it. I don't think, like, it's crazy to think I do one thing wrong, I go to hell. Like,
for sure.
Like, one of my favorite quotes ever is, maybe this planet is another world's hell. Like, what if we are, like, in purgatory consistently? Because we're always waiting. We're waiting on time. We are time. We're a physical manifestation of time. Because even us, we're vibration. You break us down, we're sound, really.
Yeah.
Just, like, we're seeing how we sound, which is an implication that doesn't exist. You can't see sound. Like, you can't see it, but you can see us, which is sound. So we are what breaks seeing something that can only be seen if your lips are moving.
Yeah.
If I turn this way, where's the sound coming from? You don't know. You can't see it. You just know that it's from me. If you never knew that it came out of a mouth, a blind person, how do they know where sound comes from?
Right.
So
that's interesting.
Exactly.
It's like where wind comes from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like, where does this... Is it just the idea... Like gravity, for example. I have no idea how gravity works. I might know some of the things. I got Einstein's poster.
They're trying to figure it out right now.
Exactly. But everyone's stuck to the ground. Now, do you think that we can think it's a flat Earth? And I don't even know what I think about that. I don't.
We're gonna get into everything. We got politics out of the way, social justice, religion here, and we're gonna go flat Earth next.
I'm just saying. Hey, I think they're getting flat mixed with linear. That's what I think's going on there.
Linear?
Like, I think it's I think they're thinking of a flat Earth, but really it's a timeline of existence. Like, it's like a flat existence. Like, it goes on and on and on and on. Like, you get the galaxy and just stretch it.
I've never heard of that.
It's linear.
That's pretty cool.
But, like, I don't know, like...
Better watch out, dude. I bet you got some flat Earth people and they're going to light up your phone.
I'm just saying,
well,
like,
linear,
I don't know what I believe on... I don't know what I believe on, like that kind of thing. But what I do know is that I'm stuck to the ground. And if I go to the moon, I believe that I wouldn't be stuck to the ground because everyone else believes it.
According to some people, you'd be the first one.
Exactly. So, like, do you think that, like, just because I say, like, a kid asks, why are we stuck on the Earth? Gravity. Okay, I believe in gravity. Blindly believe in gravity.
Yeah.
But every single person that we know, well, the majority of the world believes in gravity. Yeah. So therefore, the balance is tipped so far to gravity that, well, regardless of gravity's right or not, we all believe in it, so therefore it exists.
For sure.
I believe, I think, therefore I am, and really thinking is just a belief believing is thinking you can't prove, really. It's faith.
Yeah.
It's like, so... I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with that now. I lost my train of thought. But
I
was
liked
just
it,
trying
though.
to get
I liked it.
The idea of, like, imagine if, like, just it's a collective idea that, like, there was a, like, put it this way. Let's say maybe, considering, like, what you went through before your fight, considering you've been out of it for 10 months and everything like that, let's say that realistically, if no one was in that fight, it was just you standing there fighting him, maybe you get your ass kicked in one round. But so many people there believed that you were going to be the winner without knowing who you are. Even the guy that said that you're doing it for attention is still saying that you're good because he's still seeing that there's attention towards you. So he understands that, well, if everyone was giving him his attention, he must be good. It doesn't matter whether he believes it or not. He now has to believe that you were good because it drew the attention. So would you have gone 5 rounds if there was only you and that guy in the ring? We don't know. We can never know. But do you think that considering, like, if you took what you went through before, what we watched in the fight, you even saying you gave up almost a couple of times.
Yeah.
Was it just the belief in us that gave you this superpower for a second? And is that what we're really doing? Like, I mean, look at movies and look at the news. Maybe there is no war in Iraq. We don't, like, okay, this is a crazy thing to go down, and there is a war in Iraq. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is we really don't know because we haven't been there, we haven't touched it, we haven't felt it. So we are trusting the news. Yeah. And none of us trust the news.
Yeah.
So that's, we just implied that we trust something we don't even trust.
Right.
So is it even going on? Now, I know a bunch of people, and I'm not saying, I used to be like, you guys are weird for going over there fighting war. Like, I'm into people that are in the military. I'm like, you don't even know what you're fighting for, blah, blah. But then what I fucking totally missed, and this made me, I don't even know what to call myself, piece of shit if you want. But they're going over there to fight for their family, for their country, for the brother next to them.
Yeah.
Now, if the government's going over there to do it for oil, poppy, fucking money, gold, whatever, that's what they're doing it for.
Yeah.
I doubt, and there might be a few, like the higher ups, but I doubt you're going to go, I reckon there's 90% of people that don't even know that's going on.
So
what are they fighting for?
Yeah.
Their brother.
That's the problem.
I didn't see it like that.
Yeah.
And see, that's a perspective that I didn't get until I had someone that was in it that didn't just shove down my throat patriotism or like what can happen with religion a little bit. Like instead he listened to my views, and like Justin was probably watching or will watch it, but he listened to my views and didn't attack me. He took on what I said and said, have you looked at it like this? And like that taught me something like right there. Like, I mean, I sound very much on it now, or like I have better ideas, you know, like things that could make you think.
Yeah.
But I wasn't always like this. And like I learned from a lot of people that are still in my lives right now, and I'll be learning right now, like just on things you've said, like a lot of that history stuff, I don't know that. And like it's American history, but still I know a lot of other history of other countries. It's usually Americans that unfortunately get sanctioned into America. Like that's all that exists is America.
Yeah.
And like it's so much out there. Like, you know, a lot of people probably don't know that we said sorry to the Aborigines. Like a lot of people are like,
yeah, I have no clue.
No one knows that. No one probably knows that. And Justin also taught me this, that we had a war against emus.
Yeah, I saw that.
We had a war against emus, and
like emus, like the bird.
Literal.
And
the crazy thing is, I believe we were using World War II automatic weapons. I think it was in the 60s.
Oh my!
And the crazy thing is, we lost.
Yep.
We lost.
It is.
And you know what the funny thing is? This gets to like a weird situation, which could be like our social justice type deal. We live with them though. That we lost to them, and we just went, "Fuck it, you guys. This is you. This is us. We just live together now. We live together. And not only do we live together, we put them on our emblem.
Literally emus, yes.
Yeah, we put them on our emblem.
That's easy to live with though, because they don't give a shit now. You know what I mean?
But like I was gonna say,
they're just like, oh, you stopped killing us. I guess we're good to go.
Yeah. And
glad we're on your emblem.
Do you see how that worked though? They just went, oh fuck it. There's no fight here anymore.
Oh.
So could that work? Because you think if you want to go right back, depends what your idea of consciousness is. Depends if you believe in reincarnation, all that stuff. But we as humans stole the land from animals. Animals stole the land from natural trees and stuff like that. Like, if we want to go right back, it's like land stole it from water, or water stole it from land.
Right.
Like, we could go right back. So how come all those things can coexist and adapt? Like, the Sahara used to be a tropic. Like, it used to, I believe it's the Sahara, or something like that. It used to be a grassland, and now it is like a jungle. Mm-hmm. Or it's not the Sahara. What jungle is it? There's a jungle anyway, and it used to be, I can't remember. Yeah, that one might have gone backwards. Sorry, I'm saying it the wrong way.
That's fine.
But
I got your drift.
Yeah, there's one of them, and there's even like in this other jungle, the one that flipped the other way, there's like an antelope that learned how to swim. Like an antelope. Like he can hold his breath and swim to get to other sides and that sort of thing. So it's like everything has been able to adapt. We have the easiest way to tell someone, like a dog comes up to you and you got to guess. You can guess and guess and guess and guess, and you may never get it. You'll never know. But we have the easiest way to fucking communicate, and we can't get it right.
Right.
Like when you start looking at it that way, it's like, well, we're the retard. Well, I shouldn't say that word because I don't mean it like that. I just mean we're the, we're really
you
the
can
lower.
Say that word.
Well, we're the
totally
lower.
Cool with it.
Well, I know, but like,
I think,
and I'm gonna use it. I don't really
crowd.
give a shit about your viewers.
Well, no, and I don't care about it either. I think what gives it power is that you stop yourself. Like, I think that's what gives it power. Like, in Australia, C-bomb, like, cunt, is nothing in Australia. Like, I used to say cheers, cunt, to people as thank you. That's just, like, people are just like, whatever. If you added inflection to it and you were in the situation of where that word means something else, well, you gotta take it into the situation.
Yeah.
You know? But, I don't know. It's just weird. If you keep going down far enough, it's like you said with the 140 years. If we really want to go back, the planet stole space from space. Like,
right.
Like,
it all comes down to who owned what.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Why do we need to? And we don't own anything because we don't even own our bodies. We die. Like,
right.
Why are we so worried about that? Like, maybe the only thing we literally own, and we do, is our memories and our ideas. So maybe that's what runs the whole world. Like, if we all collectively thought of, like, we didn't see war on the news all the time, maybe we wouldn't believe in war anymore. Like, like, I don't know. And that's like a real weird way to think about it. And I don't even know how you can put that into reality, like instill it into reality and change things. But what I'm saying is maybe if we start thinking a little bit differently, and that spreads out, like there's that law of six or rule of six or whatever, where you help 6 people or you tell 6 people something, and they tell 6 people.
Butterfly effect.
Yeah, and eventually it gets back around to affecting you. It's karma.
Yeah.
Like, comes back around.
Yeah. Well, that's
what if the right idea got out there?
And that's kind of like back to that thing of social fabric. Like, you want to have people that are close to you in your community that you can rely on and that you can help. And like back in the day, you used to be able, your next door neighbors, you could say, I want you to watch my kids. Oh yeah, we'll go on a date and we'll watch your kids. You don't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of
too scared.
How much are you gonna pay me?
You're right.
Yeah.
That too. It's like it's either a money thing, but it's not. People really don't help each other anymore. And that's like not really a political thing. It's more of like a social thing. Which is you have to differentiate. But I think they're intertwined because I think certain political stances will affect the social life, right? So it's kind of like the charity thing. Like, well, if you're gonna tax me at 50%, then I guess I'm not going to give anything.
So what
charity.
happens to the people that don't give to charity though in that situation? The opposite of, like, we're giving, like, for example, like for the example that we're making, we're giving too much money away in welfare. But what about the other people? Yeah, I'm happy to give to charity too. Like, I try and give to people all the time. And this is one of the things that really bugs me, is we don't even value information. Like, we don't even value ideas, information, imagination, anything like that. We don't even value that the same as the money. Like, if I tell you something that helps your life, that might be the stepping stone to getting you on track to where the greatest part of your life is ever going to be, it might have just been something that I said. It might have been something that Jason said. We're never going to know. But we don't even value that. Like, we don't even value, like, an opinion. Like, yet we'll look at art, and it's just someone's idea, and a bunch of people just thought, that looks pretty good. Picasso is like, fuck, children could probably do Picasso.
Right.
But yet enough people saw it and thought, well, this guy's great. And for all we know, they liked the person. Like, they didn't even like the art. Like, who knows if they just liked Picasso as a guy?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think they're just, like I can say in my own life, like, I totally get what you're saying. Like, for example, Trevor with me, like, he's given me so many things that are non-monetarily that have just made my life the way it is now, where I look back and I go, it's not about the money, it's about making me mentally strong, training me. It's
about being the greatest you can be.
Exactly.
And this greatness is sometimes...
Totally right.
How is greatness, for some reason, been totally, like, symbiotic with, like, fame or cash flow? Like, how has greatness been, like
Kim Kardashian, like...
Yeah.
What?
How does she make money doing what?
And, like, that comes back to a thing that even, like, 50% of people... Like, there's going to be at least a 50-50 chance that the main reason they got famous is over a court case that shouldn't have even gone that way. Maybe. Like, I don't even know. I don't know enough information about it. But it seems like after all these O.J. Simpson things that have been put up and stuff, there's more people going, he should be out, or blah, blah, blah.
It's so funny, man.
Like, it's just interesting that where we've started from, like you said, with your... And my friend Chris, who, he fucking really opened my eyes, and he got me onto Alan Watts. Alan Watts is just brilliant. But, damn, I lost the thought. bastard. I had a good point. But, oh, no. I got it. It was about music. And it was like, so how many times do we listen to a song, and especially in this day and age, starts off with a crazy bass line. And now if we think of our bass as our lows, which they literally are, but in life as our lows and our treble as our high, like our peaks, our PMPO, if you want to say that, like all these points. How many times do we listen to a song and we're like, fuck, that bass line's sick. It's like, it gets you into rhythm, and then all of a sudden they just drop something, or they like say, the lyrics come in or something like that. What if life's like that? Like they just start off as this like bass line, this low, this like sometimes the shittiest starts can be like without that dip. The biggest waves are always exactly. the biggest trough, after the biggest troughs.
No, it's
darkest
right.
before the dawn, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
you're exactly right. I had a point too to make about when you're talking about the like mentally. I totally forgot this. I spaced this for a second. No, you're fine. It was
creating space,
right? It was with people how their minds can change something. So have you ever heard for like a touch for health? You know what that is?
No.
This is nuts, dude. This is crazy. I'll explain it, and then you're gonna think I'm nuts, just like you thought I was gonna think you're probably nuts. But so so there's this thing called a touch for health, and what it is, I don't know a lot about it. You'd have to Google it, but what it deals with is people's meridians and their energy patterns in their body, right?
Yep.
So, and then how you can actually heal your own body, right? So
thoroughly believe in that. That's just
So I was gonna say I'm pretty skeptical with stuff. People think I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, no, I just believe 9/11 was bullshit, which is provable. But everything else, I'm like, I don't know about that. Flat Earth, no go. But anyways,
Flat Earth is
I think we did land on the moon. But anyways, I won't get into all that stuff.
Well, at least the Russians did.
Yeah, right. Okay, so that's fair enough.
There was a monkey up there.
So this touch for health thing, this is nuts, man. When I was like 5 years into my career, 4 years in.
Oh, Chase Garden. Sorry, I hate to cut you off, but this is. Jordan is and always will be my idol. Love you, Jordan.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
There
Love you, Chase. We're gonna kill that cougar. You better text me. Here's the cougar coming in.
Already changing.
Huh?
Already changing.
I know,
see what
right?
I mean? Like,
well, I don't think my share showed up. I think it just showed up just now, actually. So I think there's a share on there. I gotta make sure it's on here. But
after the total thing's over, we can just reshare the whole thing and people can just watch it at their own.
That's fair enough.
That's
so
leisure.
So yeah, crap. No, I'm on. All right. So. This touch for health thing. So I was like 4 or 5 years into my career, and I had I was going to a church, and I had my pastor's wife who was really into this stuff. Right. I threw a right hand at practice one time, and I was wearing little puffy gloves. Long story short, I think I broke my hand when I threw it. So I threw it, and then my hand was so swollen, it swelled up big, and I was like, man, this is really messed up. I couldn't grip. I couldn't do anything. So I went to church the next day, and I remember when I woke up for church, I could not pull my pants up. That was how bad the pain was. I couldn't make. That
was how good last night was.
Oh my gosh! so I could not pull my pants up. I'm trying to stay on track because I'm never gonna get this out. So I tried to pull my pants up. I could not grip to pull my pants up. Right. So I finally I take one hand, I pull this side up, I pinch with my elbow, I pull the other side up, and then I get my pants on. I go to church. So I tell them about this. I'm like, I can't even shake your hand, right? She goes, oh, it's cool. I'll run a figure eight after the sermon. And I'm like,
figure eight?
I'm like, looking at her like, sure, you're going to run a figure eight over it. Okay, cool. What's that going to do? I don't even know what a figure eight is. So we get done with the sermon, and she takes this big crystal out. And she puts my hand on the table, and she takes this crystal, and she goes like this over my hand.
Just an infinity symbol.
Yeah, she takes it and does it over my hand. And I'm looking at it the whole time like... shouldn't use this word, but... yeah, I'm not going to use it. So I'm like, please.
Yeah.
I think you guys got the word, right? So I'm like, come on. What are you doing? I need to go see a doctor. She does it for about 5 minutes, and I'm like, all right, whatever. She's like, you're done. And I take my hand and I go... And I look at it and I'm like, you've got to be joking, dude. And I go, shake my hand. And I go up to my buddy. I'm like, shake my hand. Shakes my hand and absolutely grabs it. And I said, squeeze as hard as you can. Squeezes it. Dude, my hand was golden. 15 minutes, my hand was golden. And from that point on, I was like, there's something here. So I tried to research it, and it's basically what it is, like what I think it is that there's stuff that's scientific. Like I don't think there's any mysticism to it. I don't think it's whatever. I think it's scientific. It's just stuff we don't understand yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's something deeper that we don't get yet, that we haven't found out yet. And like traditional medicine is just like, you know, it is what it is. They'll fill you full of drugs.
Right.
Like the Greek word, I think pharmaceute means witchcraft. I think it's pharmaceute. You know, so that goes to show you like what they thought of it. You know what I mean? Filling your body full of this stuff. But like, there's something to it. I don't know enough about it to, and obviously a lot of people don't. But there's something to it we just don't know. You know?
See, I have this really weird theory that seems to be working for me, and fuck, I could just drop dead. But this is my theory. It's like after I had my little break, like my mental break, like I just fucking snapped, and got rid of everything. Like the main thing that happened was I lost my fear of death. That was the main thing. Like I'm on the opposite side of it now. I'm not excited, but I'm like, it's just another experience. Like it's not something to fear. It's just the next step. It's like if you believe you're your body, well, you're fucked because like it's gonna die. So what's the point in believing in your body? You got to believe in your mind and your soul. You got to like we can't even touch a soul. You ask anyone, they'll say they have a soul. Again, it's belief. Like every single structure we have is we believe it will work.
Yeah.
And like, what if we just as a thought, what if we are like together, we are God, like as one thing, we are the God, and we just got so tired of being God that we just went, we can do whatever the fuck we want. We just don't know that. And we got to prove to ourselves that we're doing it for the best of intentions. And it's about like, if we keep helping enough people, then when we leave, we just get up there and we just get to watch the show. Or whatever you want. Like, you can't speculate on what the next step is anyway, because you'll go fucking mad. Right. Like, you don't know what it is. But there's no reason to fear it either, because you don't know what it is. Like, how can we be scared of something we have no idea? Like, you know, like, if you didn't know what cake tasted like, but you were scared of bright colours, and you told a kid, go in there, the cake's sweet, but you've never tasted cake, but you like the bright colour. You're like, well, I don't know. Like, but you're missing out on something that tastes brilliant because you're afraid of the colour. Yeah. So you're afraid of letting go of your body when you don't even know it could be the greatest fucking thing that ever happens to you.
Right.
Why are we so afraid of it? Like, we shouldn't be striving for it. I'm not saying that. Like, I'm not saying... But, and one of my biggest things that I took from it was the ultimate end. Like, I believe that the only way to be existence... Everything works on implication. You have to imply on itself for it to exist. You cannot have black without white. You cannot have space without, like, something that it surrounds. Yeah. Like, even... You look at us as physical beings. We're 99.9% nothing in an atom. So you're telling me we're a collection of 0.11%, which, or whatever the fucking number is. But you need like enough of them to get to 99.9. So the balance is we're one physical body, which is all we can see, but our balance is say 1 billion atoms to make one, but that's perfectly balanced. So sometimes maybe it's the idea that balance is even is what's wrong. Like if we had enough people just believing that something is right, that might be enough for it to be one. Like, how do we not know that we're just all... Like, we could be... Like, every cell that's in our body that makes us us, we could just be every cell in some alien's fucking brain that he's just laying on a thing. Right. And we're all just working together to wake this motherfucker up.
You don't know.
Like,
that's the thing, is you don't know...
But why aren't we working together? Because that...
Well, it's because of different ideologies. You
know exactly, I mean? But what? Yeah, and that's what I want to get across with this sort of shit. Like, let's believe in like helping each other, because at the end of the day, if you help each other, if someone, there is a positive guilt. Like guilt doesn't have to be negative. Like, and the guilt is the wrong word, but it fits. But if you like get someone to do something that betters them, but you do it in a weird way, is that bad? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, like if I can, like you're saying with, I don't care how people take what I'm saying. Some people need to hear that, and most people do, and we can't keep sheltering it. We just got to be like, let's deal with it. Don't get angry back, because all that way back. Yeah. That defense just shows the insecurity you have in yourself. Yeah. Like by defending, what are you defending? Like, is it even your idea? Like all we are is a bunch of fucking dictionaries fighting with each other. Because if I run out of words that you understand, this is Terence McKenna stuff, but if you run out of words or like if I can't understand the words that are coming out of you, then all of a sudden you're irrelevant to me. Because I can't understand you, you're nothing to me. Because like you could be talking gibberish for all I know.
Yeah.
So we're just a bunch of dictionaries going at it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like if we all had the same dictionary, maybe we'd have the same description for all these words. You know, it's all just language. If we didn't have, like, if we all talk like Derek, who knows? You know, Derek gets misread all the time because he's completely monotone. He has, you know, it's very, when you see him excited, you know he's excited.
Right.
When you see him down, you can tell he's down. But that's like 2% this side, 2% this
Right.
side.
The
rest of it, you got
like...
no idea. And like that's a perfect example of, imagine if we all just like, you know, like imagine if we were just like dogs. Like just dogs, they protect, they eat, they sleep, they fucking love, and that's it. Like a dog doesn't just rip. Like all these pit bulls that are getting fucked up and stuff, it's the owners. Where do you think they learned it from?
Right.
Like a dog, it's just like you see these pictures, and there was a great picture. It was like a really moving picture to me, and it was a little baby in a toddler in a Ku Klux Klan like suit. Three African American gentlemen like with their shields in front of them. I know. I just don't know. It's the Australian American thing, man. It's the Australian American thing. Like
I think the African American one is the one that they're
they're going to be offended by.
And this is one of the things I'm getting at. I don't even agree with saying it like that because it does. You're right. It instills more racism to me.
It's words, man. It's just bullshit.
It's
saying words.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's just words.
But yeah, and the baby was going up to the shield, and it is. You're right. It's just fucking words. It's not even real. We made them up. They didn't even exist before. Words and numbers were the same thing. If you go back enough 1,000 years, they were the same fucking things. I think we're just a mathematical equation, just going over and over and over. But yeah, like that picture. Oh, dude, there's so much. Sorry. But the picture was just like of this, like the baby going up and just touching the shield and the like the guard just looking like it was taught. Like that baby doesn't care. Like it doesn't know what it's wearing. It doesn't know what it signifies. Right. And this guy is just going, well, you don't know what you're wearing. Like it's taught. It's just like, you know, why are we teaching it still? And maybe do you think that the only way to fix it is just to wait for the generations that are still holding on to let go? Because like we've got like
I think that's the problem is if we continue doing this back and forth thing, it's not going to let go. Because I remember a time like in my life where race wasn't the big deal. Yeah. It really wasn't the big deal, you know? But the problem is if you keep trying to, and this kind of gets back to our previous little conversation, but if you keep trying to correct for the past mistakes of history, there will never be letting go. No. I mean, you got to think about what you're doing right now, right? So what they're doing right now is, regardless of what you want to say about straight white males or whatever, okay, I am one. I don't really care. But regardless of what you want to say, right now what they're trying to do is they're in essence trying to, and they haven't really done it yet, but they're trying to push to make us the oppressed, right? Yep. That's what they're trying to do. And I can give multiple examples for any of the social justice warriors that are viewing right now. Affirmative action is a great one. Right now they punish Asian kids on the SATs while giving additional points to black kids. And those are just like the broad one, like very basic ones. You also have like the flooding of the welfare into black communities, the food stamps, healthcare, all these sort of things. Well, what ends up happening is if you get what a lot of these people want, right? If you really get what they want, which is like if you look at the deep ends on the left spectrum, is genocide. They call for the destruction of white people. White people need to die. Kill your babies. Don't have babies. I mean, these things are online. You can look at them.
As a general feeling across the entire,
No. But we're talking the extreme.
Oh, right? Okay.
And part of the problem with leftism ideology is that the extreme always becomes the norm, right? So they always keep going left. They always keep going left. They always keep going left. The right in conservatives, socially conservative. Have no say over it. If you want to go smoke meth, go do it. I don't care. The government shouldn't care. Personally, I'm not going to tell my kids that's okay. Yeah. Nor am I going to promote those things to my kids. So I'm legally libertarian. I'm socially conservative. But from what I see is the conservative side is pretty set. This is where they are, right? They don't really move farther to the right. They kind of just
sorry,
fixing it. No, that's fine.
No, keep going.
They kind of stay where they're at, right? But the left always goes farther left. They always go farther left, right? So right now in today's day and age, if the extreme left is genocide of white people, what's it going to be in 20 years, right? Are those things going to be pushed into law? I mean, you want to talk about being anti-Nazi if you're on the left? Those are the people that are shutting down free speech, right? Those are the people that are using violence to push a political ideology, which is the exact definition of fascism, while calling themselves anti-fascist. So, I think, looking back on this as far as like in history, correcting for the mistakes of history, if you swing this thing this way, right?
Yep.
Say you swing this thing this way. So it's a pendulum, and the pendulum goes way over here. So let's say for the next 50 years, it's more and more left, more and more left. Let's obliterate white people, right? Well, then you have the problem with the next 50 years after that being, we're oppressed, we're slaves.
Yep.
You have to eventually go, okay, we're gonna start from here, and we're gonna live together.
Saying,
and I think there was a point in my life that it was.
Yep.
That it was like that. That's what I was saying.
See,
there was a point in my life where race wasn't the big deal.
See, I don't understand it. Like, I feel like it's just like, it's definitely a mentality. I never felt like that in Australia. Like, I mean, like, one of the nicest guys I ever knew, like, ever ran into, I didn't really know him, was when I worked out of Delhi, and he was an Aboriginal gentleman. He was the nicest guy in the world. Yet, like, that didn't affect me that he was Aboriginal. I never looked at him like, you're
Didn't
Aboriginal, it's just like, you're a nice guy, I like you.
Yeah, you looked at him as an individual.
Yeah, I was like, if you're a piece of shit, I don't give a fuck what colour you wear, what clothes you wear, how your hair is, anything. I don't give a fuck. I'm like, if you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I guess I just don't understand like how it's gotten this far. And I haven't been over here long enough. I don't know history long enough over here. You know, it's totally different. Like, I mean, you guys celebrate a day where you slaughtered like a bunch of like people. It's craziness. Columbus Day is still a thing Columbus Day is a thing that exists, and he didn't even discover it. Like, like, I mean, it's just crazy. Like, where does it end? And like, how do you change it? Like, how do you?
Well, that's why I think like there's a lot of ways.
And see, I'm probably wrong in what I just said in both of those cases, because I've only heard a certain thing.
Yeah.
And
I don't know enough about him to give a different opinion on like Columbus and things like that. What I think is that what I notice with like the way I believe in things, and I try not to say that I'm an ideological person, meaning that I don't hold this ideology and this is the way it is. Like, I'm open-minded. I try to change things. Like, I used to be very, very like what you would call modern day Republican, and now I'm way more libertarian. Like, I changed my views because I was given evidence that said, oh, this is stupid. Why are you against people who want to smoke weed? Why do you care?
Yeah.
Why do you care? Well, because it'll cause them to do other crimes. So hold them accountable for those crimes.
Yeah.
That solves the whole problem, right?
Yep.
So there's things that I will change my mind on. I try not to be ideologically driven. But when you approach certain problems, there's like different ways that you can approach it. You can approach it from this aspect and this aspect and this aspect. I think that the biggest thing that, the one thing that I've found in my own mind that solves a broad number of these problems that we're talking about is this whole individualism thing. I think that I can sit here and talk to you about the individual policies on why flooding black communities is terrible, like flooding them with welfare is terrible, and flooding them with victim mentality is terrible, and all these things. But I think the best way to approach all these things is individualism.
Yeah.
If your ideology is collectivism, and whether that's socialism or fascism or communism or social justice-ism, if it's collectivism, right? If it's a collectivism,
it's a bit of ism.
Exactly. You've got a problem. You've got a problem. You've got a problem on your hands. You can't claim to, like we said before, you cannot claim to be for minorities if you are not for the individual.
Yeah.
And you cannot claim to be for the individual if you believe in social justice. Social is the opposite of individual, right? Yeah. But I understand, like, we're all living here together, so there has to be some sort of a collective mindset of let's help each other, right? Yeah. But let's help each other as individuals. Let's not help each other as a collective. We should never look at things like we should help.
Well, it's generalizing,
people,
like,
or white people.
Yeah, it's basically stereotyping. Well, you're stereotyping then. You're just saying all these people do that. Like, I couldn't do fighting. You probably, I don't know if you play drums. Like you're right. We should treat people as individuals, and that's where the schooling system is so bad. Like they take out the creative stuff, and what they do is they take away. It's crazy. They take away arts and really make them as if you'll never get anywhere with art.
No.
Then they make you do all these other jobs where you're stuck in a 9 to 5, but then the guy that makes the best art gets paid 30 times more than the whole rest of them put together.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. Like, do we even it all out where like everyone's art's good and everyone gets a bit of money, or is it like how do you?
That's not fair, because I mean, in my opinion, like this just goes back to that. It's like the whole income inequality. You don't have effort inequality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Certain people put in more effort.
Right.
Certain people put in less effort.
Skills.
And then people always say, well, the effort necessarily doesn't mean everything. You're right, it doesn't. Because there's certain people who have such greater skills at what they do that they have to put in less effort to gain the same. And that's unfortunate, right? How do you correct for that? I mean, do you correct for it by stealing from them? I don't think that's moral.
No.
Right? Like, there are certain people who are so good with numbers, right? They're so good with numbers. They can go into an office, be an accountant, work for 2 hours a day, go, yeah, here's your problems, boom, 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 right? They save that company $1 million a year. Now, their salary is $500,000, right? Now, people look and they go, well, I'm flipping burgers for $10 an hour, okay? That's not fair. What do you mean it's not fair? They've done nothing to you. They've done nothing to you. There's no legal inequality that's happening. You both have equal rights under the law. I mean, and so this comes down to the point of when we talk about equality. This is why I get so frustrated with Derek sometimes, right? and I love him to death. I love him, right? This word equality. This is the most bullshit word on earth. It is the most bullshit word on earth. There are two types of equality in life. One is equal rights under the law, right? Which means you have a bar, okay? And this bar is equal for everybody. Now, if you achieve this bar, right? Okay, that's awesome. That's great. But this bar is still the same, right?
Yep.
Murder is still murder. It doesn't matter who you are,
Yep.
okay? The other thing is what we call material forced equality, which means I only make $10 an hour. You make 20. I now want 20. That's equality. No, that's not equality. That's theft and force. So when you say the term like equality, like, and I know you didn't use this term, but I'm just kind of, I guess, rambling on here a little bit. You have to be
That's a good point.
You have to be very specific about what you're talking about, because when you force equality on people, when you say, well, you have a house, I should have a house. Well, why? What have you done to merit a house?
Yeah.
Have you done anything to merit a house? You don't have effort equality. Now, the only thing that covers effort equality with income equality or material possession is a free market. It's the only thing that does. If you are very skilled or a very hard worker, you will succeed. It's that simple. And if you're not, then you won't.
So what if everyone was exactly the same amount of effort? What would be the new lazy and what would be the new...
In a free market?
No, but I just mean like if everyone put in... Let's say everyone just went, yep, I'm putting in 110%, like every single person. Well, 110% would become the normal. So how would you separate yourself?
Your skills?
Your skills, but you might not necessarily have to. I mean, if you had a society where everybody really was that hardworking and really was, let's say they were that skilled too, we'd all get to the point where...
It'd be robots.
Yeah, I mean, then you'd start talking about a universal basic income and shit like that, because everybody would have a Maserati and a nice house. See, the problem with the opposite ideology is that what they believe is this thing is... Like the economy, for example, it's a fixed pie, right? And that is, if this person's taking this much, that means they're taking this much from me. That's not how things work. So it's what's called a zero-sum game, or a positive-sum game, or a negative-sum game. So what a zero-sum game is like poker. Okay,
Yeah.
Poker basically says, if I win, I had to win because you had to lose, right? Now, a lot of people in these ideologies, they believe that the market is like a poker game. No, if you won, it's because I lost. The market's not like a poker game.
There's never a competition in the beginning.
Well, there is a competition, but...
There's a competitive element, but it's not necessarily...
Let me put it to you this way.
I've come into the MMA to, beat you.
Yeah. It's different than that. So, like, this is the best analogy I could put it, okay? In a free market, any transaction that occurs voluntarily. And the reason that
We're talking like a barter-style market, almost.
Anything.
Okay.
Anything, okay? If you buy a $20 steak from me, or I buy a $20 steak for you, that transaction occurs voluntarily. Now, the reason that it occurs voluntarily is because we both benefit from the transaction occurring, okay? In other words, you value my $20 more than I value your steak, and I value your steak more than you value my $20, which is why that transaction occurs, right? Okay. You want the steak more than the $20, or opposite. I can't remember which way I was going with this. Right? That's too many beers. Yeah. Okay. So what ends up happening is when that transaction takes place, we've both now benefited, right? Now in a zero-sum game, when that transaction occurs, one of us would not have benefited. One of us would have benefited at the other's expense. Yeah. So taxation is a great example of this, right? Yeah. The government takes my money, okay, and then gives it to somebody that they deem fit. Whether it's a direct payment to them or whether it's in the form of food stamps or disability or whatever happens to be, or a subsidy, okay? So they're taking it from me, they're giving it to them. Now that is a zero-sum game. That is, you stole it from me, you gave it to them, right? Yeah. But a positive-sum game is that we both mutually benefit from it because you value one thing and I value the other thing.
How do we do that?
Privatizing roads?
By privatizing everything. Yeah, by privatizing everything.
So you never got to your point though about the privatizing the medical.
Oh yeah.
You guys ready to have your mind blown? Okay. I've had quite a few beers, so we'll try this out. Okay, I'm gonna get on a roll. When I get on a roll, you can't stop me. Is that fair enough? I'm peeing first, and then I'm getting on a roll with the medical industry because I'm gonna kill it. Okay.
I'm totally ready.
Get out of here. And I'm gonna crack open another beer for this one because this is gonna be fun.
It's gonna be excellent. I'm ready.
I just remembered that when we said privatize, I was like, I do not recall him saying
the medical thing. It's gonna be interesting. Definitely interesting. How the 49ers gonna go this year?
Oh, they're good. I mean, Shanahan, I believe. I mean, he's brilliant. What he did with Falcons, what he did with Redskins year before that. He's good. I don't know about a head coach good though.
Because he was just offensive coordinator.
Offensive coordinator. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because your accent kicked in. But the quarterback is a huge problem. Hoyer, Barkley, and a rookie.
Throw the rookie and we know the other two
Little.
Shit.
Hey, he played the rookie. I know he's playing against second, third strings, but he's actually not too bad.
No, but that's what I mean. You may as well throw in the unknown. You know the other two have proven themselves, so may as well give this guy a chance to fuck it up. Yeah. And then...
You guys ready for this?
We're
Here
ready.
we go.
Is this the last point, you reckon?
Are you kidding me?
Oh,
it's only 9:48. Let's do this, man.
No. I'm just making sure. I'm just interested.
Oh, my buddy Micah's watching. What up? Okay. So, let's make a little
disclaimer.
Well, we'll make it a little a pre-quote because we're gonna go back to this. So I'm gonna talk about health insurance a little bit, but health insurance costs are directly related to care costs, which meaning you can talk about how high health insurance is, but it's directly related to how high the care is. When the care gets higher, the cost gets higher. Yeah. Same thing like when you replace a car, like if you have to do body work on a car, the body work's really high. Well, the insurance is going to be really high to pay for that, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about health care costs instead of health insurance. Then we'll get back to insurance because there is a little bit of an issue going on with it. But so healthcare. Here's the reason healthcare is so expensive.
Derek for the insurance.
Any market that you have, there's really two big things that raise the cost. The first one is subsidization, and the second one is regulation. Okay. Now, what ends up happening with subsidization is it creates what I call an artificial market. Okay, so what this is we'll use education as a great example of this. You have colleges, right? Now you have a certain amount of kids that will go to those schools, a certain amount of kids that decide maybe they want to go to trade school, and a certain amount that will just work whatever job they want to work. Okay. The college now has to, and you've seen this happen in like the 1960s in America, the college now has to compete with other colleges for that market. They have to compete for those students, right? Okay, so what do they have to do to compete with those students? They have to provide a better quality service for a lower cost to make sure those kids go to that school as opposed to going to another school. Okay. Now what ends up happening is when you subsidize this, so let's say the government makes a law like they did with FAFSA, for example, and they say, we're going to pay anybody's tuition who makes under this much money. Okay. What they do is they create an artificial market, meaning that there's certain kids that wouldn't have gone to school that are now going to go to school, right? Everybody thinks that's a really good thing. So what does the college do? Well, the college makes a good economic decision and they go, now we have this big market, right? Now we have more kids that want to go here instead of less.
Let's raise the price.
So
let's raise the prices, right?
Let's make it harder to get in.
Exactly. Let's raise the prices because we know that they're not footing the bill, that the government's footing the bill. So you saw this in the 1970s with FAFSA. So if you were to take the inflation of tuition prices from school in the 1960s before FAFSA and then school now, it's way above what inflation is, right? Even inflation, by the way, is theft because it's just the government printing money, devaluing your currency. That's a whole nother argument. So let's say I'm sure, right? So let's say you just took inflation, right? NIC right now should be at around $700 a semester. Okay, it's at around $1,600. Okay, so the reason that is because you subsidized it. You basically gave the school an incentive to raise their costs because they knew that you weren't footing the bill, that the taxpayers were footing the bill. Okay. Now, take that and apply it to the medical industry. And around the same time, maybe a little bit before. So you have a medical industry, right? And it's a free market. And you can basically, if you want to buy insurance, it's pretty cheap. And if you want to just go and pay the doctor whenever you get sick, you can do that because it's fairly cheap, right? Then they start subsidizing medicine with Medicare and Medicaid, okay? Now, that's not huge. They weren't huge programs, so it didn't raise the cost crazy, but it's going to raise the cost a little bit, okay? Mm-hmm. Now what you do is you regulate the shit out of it, and they've done this very well, okay? So you make it to where anything you can get, you can lose your license, you can do any of this stuff. Now, each one of those things individually would raise costs a little bit, okay? However, together they kind of have a compounding effect. And we'll kind of just use a local shop here, okay? So if you end up subsidizing it, what you do is you create this artificial market the same way that the education industry works, okay? So now you have this huge market. Now let's say you've got this many providers, right? Now you're going to shorten the provider list by regulation. That's all regulation really does, is it shortens that provider list, okay? So now you have this big of a provider list trying to work on this big of a market list. What's going to happen with prices? They're going to go up exponentially, okay? So that's really the problem in our healthcare industry. Now, a lot of this is kind of, I think, been planned because they want to go, look how evil and greedy these guys are. We need to go to single payer. Well, no, they're not evil and greedy, any more evil and greedy than any business owner is. They have to provide their consumers with a good quality product or service to gain their business, just like anybody else. You've just made it easier for them to gain their business because you've subsidized it and regulated their competition out of work. So this whole term, like you watch a lot of people say greed's the issue. No, greed's not the issue. Your regulation and subsidization is the issue. If greed was just the issue in a free market, they would have to provide a better quality product or service to get the business. So greed actually in a free market, greed's actually a good thing. Greed makes you fulfill your consumers' needs. I'm greedy. I want a new car. I better give Jason a better product so I gain his business instead of you gaining his business, right?
So
now,
trust in a way, as long as the intention's correct.
Well, the intention, it's forced virtue in a free market because maybe I don't really care about Jason's well-being, but I have to because if I don't gain his business, I go out of business, right?
So is that mind control, though, in a sense?
For me?
Yeah, for the person that's because then you're going down to think, well, now instead of being forced to pay tax, you're forced to be nice.
Well, I would rather have them.
Is that real? No. What I'm saying is that not real. I don't know why I said real, but like, is that like more beneficial than what is real? Is what I meant to say. Like, what is the reality at the moment? Is that more beneficial to be? Fake nice?
Because then he gets a product or service for a really low cost, and then his life's better. So we can't claim to be for people that are impoverished while opposing a free market, because if you look at any collectivist system, eventually they fail. A lot of these, when we can get into that too, but so now, okay, so now the insurance thing. Now here's the problem with the insurance. Okay, so now we've discussed care, right? So care, now you have an artificial market that's real big, and because it's subsidized, right? And then you have a deflated provider because it's regulated, right? Well, now put on top of that an artificially inflated insurance market because you've now passed a law saying that everybody has to have insurance. So now what are the insurance companies going to do? Well, everybody has to have it. They can't get away with not having it. What are we going to do to the rates?
Raise the price.
Right? So the rates were already going to be high with subsidization and regulation on the care side.
Yeah.
Okay. Now they're really, really high with the artificial market on the insurance side. Now let's take it even a step farther. Now let's say that insurance companies can't compete within states. In the 50 states, you can only have 2 or 3 companies within one state. Like, this is how the law is now. So now you've actually regulated. Now you've artificially created a market in the care industry and regulated the supply.
Another set of 1%ers.
Exactly. You've artificially marketed the care and regulated the suppliers, and now you've artificially supplied in the insurance side and regulated the providers on both sides of it. So not just one side is you have this big, excuse my language, big fuck up. Now you've got it on both sides. People, oh, my insurance cost is too high. We better need single payer. No, you need a free market. You've always needed a free market. But people are too stupid to understand that. So
that's interesting. That makes a lot of sense. No, but that just makes sense. I've never even known half of that. I don't dabble in politics enough.
Yeah.
Like, I'm too carefree. Like, I'm just like, I reckon worry controls the world. If I don't worry about anything, it doesn't affect me. When it affects me, I'll deal with it.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, anything the government wants to do as a collective whole, like, in my opinion, they're never going to drop the bombs. And if they do, we're all fucked anyway. Right. So what's the point in worrying about it? Like, that's like worrying about death. It's like, it's going to happen anyway. Like, what if the journey in between is what is most important?
Yeah.
Like, it's not... If you know the end and you know the beginning, but you just don't know who you are in the middle, isn't that the main part of it? To experience yourself?
Yeah.
To, like, we are the universe experiencing itself? Like,
well, that's why I think that this is nice, too, because these are all things that I think about when I'm laying up in bed at night.
Yeah, yeah.
And my wife's like, why aren't you going to sleep yet? I'm like, I'm thinking about how the medical industry is but it's nice.
I can change the fucking world. No one's gonna let me.
People think I'm thinking about beating people up. I'm like, no, dude. I'm thinking about like how privatized roads would work in libertarian society. But this is why this is
like
nice.
Punch a dude's going, I wonder if he's got insurance. Oh, it's not my fucking problem.
Right, it's not my problem. It's Ken Gage's problem. He made a voluntary contract with this private organization. No, man. I like doing stuff like this. I like talking about stuff like this. But
I think it's crazy that there's been, I think since the 60s or the 70s, there's been like 25 prisons built and 1 college. Like, it just goes to show that they'd rather have people in prison to create jobs that way rather than have 25 schools that inform people and create new jobs. Because what they think is
the prison industry is nuts.
Well, they go like, what jobs are we going to have if we have all these smart people? Well, if they're smart, then we have 50 Elon Musks, not just one. Yeah. So we create a new genre of IT. And then we start creating souls or something. I don't know. We don't want to do that.
See, now I'm going to piss off all my conservative friends. Because I'm going to tell them straight up, dude, the prison industry, if you're one of those people that just go, well, it's the law. You need to obey the law. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Laws are bad. Some laws are terrible.
Yeah.
And if it's a law that has there's no victim, you're an idiot if you believe in that.
Exactly.
If you believe that somebody who's smoking weed should go to jail, you're an idiot. It's that simple. And
especially
I don't care.
when there's not been one single ever recorded death.
Doesn't matter if there was.
Right. I don't care. I know. No, I agree. But I mean, just to put that
I get what you're saying.
There's not many 100%s. Right. There's not many 100%s out there, like, other than we exist.
And that's one of them.
And that is honestly one of them. Because, like, I mean, I don't know. You can dabble in it like, well, this guy got stoned and forgot this turn and then got in a car crash, something like that.
So you hold him accountable for the crash.
The crash, exactly. And that's where it comes from. Like, and people don't understand. They go, well, he was stoned when it happened. It's like, yeah, but the crash is what killed him. Not the weed. It was the crash.
Exactly.
If anything, the weed might have helped him stay alive a little bit longer. My goodness. You know, like, I'm a big believer in it being like our whole.
We are not pushing getting stoned and driving. Not that I think it's bad. I just want to clarify so I don't get
I'm
fired.
just saying, like, things that definitely not. No, nothing like that. We're not even in the right state to be fucking pushing shit like that. But what I'm saying is,
walk outside with people with guns, like, get out of our state now.
Well, but scientifically, you look at, like, our brain makeup, and we have a cannabinoid system built into our entire body that is meant to react with this stuff. And it starts to make you wonder, like, this is a Schedule 1 drug. That means it has absolutely no medicinal use. Yet, we have medical weed clinics. How the fuck you literally say, this is heroin, but this one's okay because I get taxed?
Right.
And, like, because your regulation and all that shit. And, like, it's just insane to, like Bill Hicks says, don't you think by making nature illegal, it's a little unnatural? Like,
right?
Doesn't that go against nature?
And this is from somebody, I don't even smoke weed, dude.
Yeah, I don't even smoke.
You know what I mean? It's like, but I look at it and I go, how stupid can this get, man? And growing up in the household that kind of we grew up in, it's like, it took a change, because I grew in a household that was like very anti-weed and stuff. And then it's like, you kind of look into it and you're like, well, I think the thing that really helped me was not, I mean, I think there's benefits to weed as far as like personal, whatever, you know, medical things.
Medicinal,
but I think,
definitely.
like, in my opinion, it's always goes back to that. Why should putting something into your body be illegal? That's always been my choice. It's your choice. If I want to drink bleach, why should that be illegal? Yeah, that's a really stupid decision.
People out there
if
sober
I'm putting bleach
doing
into my
fucked up
kids,
shit.
if I'm putting bleach into my kids, that should be illegal. Like I'm hurting another life, right? But there's a victim there. But me doing it to myself, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
There's not a recorded death, so there's no way you can, like, you know,
it's just
smoking plant matter
nothing,
and stuff is not good for you. Like, it will eventually affect you in some way.
I'm
but
sure.
Like,
that's a risk you're gonna have to take. Fighting people in a cage will affect you too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Should that be illegal? Right? It already has, obviously. Yeah. You know what I mean? I can't remember half the shit I wanted to say today. But should that be illegal? It's like, no, dude, you have to.
No, not if you're getting paid for it.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally gonna be getting a paycheck. But it's just one of those things, man. It's like you're either free or you're not. You know, it's like you're either free or you're not. It's like I don't like me. I'm not like a hippie, right? And I look at you, and I know you're kind of like just judging a little bit, right? No, I'm like you're a hippie, right? Yep. And it's like we're opposite, because I'm personally.
Where is my kombucha?
I'm personally like socially conservative, like hunter, and I know you're like free world spirit earth guy, right? But it's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't freaking matter. Freedom is freedom. It's freedom for you to do whatever you want, and it's freedom for me to do whatever I want. And as long as I'm not affecting you, as long as you're not affecting me, who gives a shit?
Well, look at Spain.
Who cares?
Like, I mean, just on the drug thing, look at Spain. I think it was Prime Minister of Spain.
Argentina,
Prime Minister, whatever,
is like just nuts.
Well, but like Spain actually legalized like everything. Well, not legalized, decriminalized it, and then put it as a health issue rather than a criminal issue.
Right.
And shit has just dropped. You look at even just one drug weed in Denver, Colorado. 500 million, $500 million just in tax revenue. Just in tax revenue. See, not to mention the extra pizzas that were bought. And fucking,
right. But see, that I even have a problem with that. Because that's bullshit to me. That is another thing that the government's doing, is saying, we're going to give you the right back and then we're going to tax you for it. No. And this is my problem with the left. Is the left is very like kind of pro-marijuana, right? But they're like pro-marijuana in the wrong ways. No, legalize and tax it. No, bullshit. It shouldn't be taxed, just like everything else shouldn't be taxed. It's ridiculous, man. People should be able to go and plant a marijuana plant in their backyard and not pay a dime for it.
Yeah.
And you should be able to go off the grid and not pay a dime for it. I
don't care. And if you're too, well, maybe stupid, or if you're not like you don't have the time, you don't want to put the time in, that's when you should pay for it. Like, that's when you should be like, well, but you should privately pay for it. Like, you should be like, next door neighbor go, dude, I don't even want to fucking grow a weed plant. I'll just give you fucking $20 when you get some off there. Is that cool? And then all of a sudden,
well, that's a private transaction. Do whatever you want, man. They should sell it at Super One.
Yeah.
I don't care. It doesn't.
Oh,
you know
imagine
what I mean?
that. Imagine
it's so dumb, man.
I
It's
know.
the dumbest thing ever.
It's just a good. I like the topic because I believe in it very medically.
Yeah.
Like I think I think it's proven to like kill cancer and stuff like that and things like that.
Oh, CBD is like money.
Like, there's no way Rick Simpson can be banished from his own country for creating an oil that has proven to cure cancer, and then they say it doesn't do anything. Right. Well, why'd you fucking banish him? Let him back in. At least let the one guy back in to just spread it. Like, why not? If you're really smart, and this is why these governments aren't smart, is if you're really smart, you'd bring him in and you'd push and go, he's fucking crazy. You really think a plant, just a synthesized plant, which pharmaceuticals are mixed with anyway.
Right.
But a fully synthesized plant can cure cancer, which has been killing us for years. Like, if you said it that way, and I go, yeah, it can. But it's only because so many people are now trying to prove it. No one would have tried to prove it if you just told us it. They'd have just been like, that's fucking nuts.
Right.
Like, they went the wrong way. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, if you'd have let it out there and not had the fear of that, then the only people that would still be doing it are the people that aren't affected.
Well, in today's day and age with the internet, you can't suppress anything like that. You can't sit there and try to suppress something because it will get out eventually. Oh, yeah. And when it gets out, and when the fact that you tried to suppress it gets out, now you're in a bunch of hot water because it goes, well, why'd you try to suppress that? It's like the whole Hillary Clinton thing. You know what I mean? Well, it's like, well, all this stuff comes out. It's like, well, why did you try to not tell us that you sold uranium to Russia? You know, why did you not tell us about all these people that died mysteriously? hope they don't kill me after this one.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, and well, it's the same thing with, I guess Trump's kind of the same way, where it's like, you know, you probably shouldn't, well, I don't know if you knew about that recording with the whole grabbing the pussy thing, but it's like, you know, if you did, why didn't you just come out and say, you know,
but the
there's
thing
some
is, that's
things
where
in the
the
past.
individualizing thing comes down, because everyone forgets, yeah, he may be a president, he may be a senator, he may be a businessman. At the end of the day, he's a fucking man. And you go to any man in the entire world, there's going to be a very large percentage that are going to say they've at least had that thought. Just because he got caught doing it just shows that's how much attention you're giving this guy.
Right.
And clearly, you fucking played into his game. Because he wanted more attention.
Right?
And he said that because, you know what? Guys, which I'm like, and I like, I'm going to sound like a fucking, I don't even know what, I guess a feminist here. But
oh, please don't. I'm just starting to like you, Tom.
I strongly believe that females are the gods and we're the demigods and we're meant to, because they're the only ones that inside of them can create life.
That's true.
They could farm
I can give
us,
you that one.
They could
I
farm
can give you that
us
one.
like cows. They can have one of us, like a queen bee.
That's true.
And farm the fuck out of us.
This is why Idaho only opens a bull season when the populations are low.
There's a fucking anglerfish that does it.
Right? You can
just
kill as many
sperm
bulls as you want, but you better not kill those cows, right?
Yeah.
Because one bull can impregnate all of them.
Okay.
I can feel you on that one.
So,
I can feel
and
it. That's
that's
probably
what
the only feminist point I'll ever agree with you on.
And this is the thing, and the problem is
But that's
feminists,
the most valid one.
It is the most valid one, actually.
but they can create life, so we should be worshipping them in a sense. That we should be. But like the problem is like, and I don't know how this views like you can lift a lot more than I can lift, and then in general you could lift a lot more than a lot of women can lift, and that's just a fact. That's not sexist. That's a fact.
Exactly.
Come over here and fucking prove it.
Exactly.
I agree, it's a fact, but people still.
But it's a fact.
I don't care. Like Joe Rogan said, he's like, "What? I got 2 daughters and a wife. I'll kick both their asses. I'll do it with the flu too.
Yeah,
it's a fact, dude. You can't deny that.
Yeah, it's a fact. So like we can't compete. Like what women don't understand is they've already won. We can't compete with them. Like if we were down to just Adam, like if we were just back to number 1, they'd still have all the power. Like that's the thing, and like they control us anyway. Even when we get a bunch of fucking money, these fuckwit idiots are out there buying vagina. Like I mean. Like, women win every time. And so why are you fighting to win? Why don't you, again, the suppression idea, but I don't know, if it's not suppression, it's kind of the opposite. But why not sit back and just let men do shit for you and just be a little bit nicer about it? Like, just don't be so defensive. But then it comes down to there's a lot of assholes out there. And, like, I have a lot of friends that I like as guy mates. They jump in front of a fucking car for me and shit like that. Would I introduce them to any of my female friends? Not a fucking chance.
Oh,
like no way. Because
they're just
like,
terrible dudes.
They're
just
chicks. They're there.
Yeah.
They haven't thought.
And that's another thing,
we've
dude.
we've lost connection. Sorry, I will let you talk.
No,
about
go ahead.
We've lost connection with love. That's the problem.
See,
we've lost connection with sex is based on love, and now we've fucking sold sex. And like, I get it. There is a primal, you know, like it feels good and that sort of thing. But realistically, it's for procreation. And to procreate you means you want to have a kid, and you don't want to have a kid with everyone because we've all had that thought. Holy fuck! If I got that chick pregnant, I'd be fucking done.
Tom's a ladies' man. He's had it more than the rest of us.
I definitely wouldn't say that. You'd be fucking very surprised. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like I don't know why we're always fighting to win.
Yeah.
But if we just like I will do like anything for Angelina. Like I'll do absolutely anything for her.
Right.
And when I do. Like, it comes back to, the problem is, we don't all realize that no matter what we do, we're selfish. Because even if you do something completely out of charity, out of, volunteering to do something with absolutely no reward, you're still going to get happy from it. You get the reward no matter what, and you get happy, and therefore you are like, well, you're selfish because you've accepted happiness as your reward.
Because your happiness, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think, like...
And that's self-awareness, though. That's where we get mixed up.
See, but I think I get what you're saying totally, but I think like your motivation does matter. Like motivation, like okay, you do get a happiness, but if your motivation was to help them and not to get that happiness, maybe I don't know. Maybe
so is that the only
selfish
act, or selfless act? Selfish.
I think it's. I mean, I think intent matters so much.
It does, and I agree with that. Intention is the only thing that really matters.
Praise. Like I've seen people, man. There's a guy I know on my Facebook who like. he did this really charitable thing. I'm not going to name names, but he did this
He knows.
super
He already
charitable
knows.
thing.
Well, he knows now.
Right? So he
He
did
just
this
texted.
super charitable. This was actually like a couple years ago, but it just stuck in my mind. He did this super charitable thing, right? It was at this church. They were giving stuff away, and he won this thing, and then he got up on stage, and then he gave the thing away, right? And he made this big long post about it on Facebook. And in my mind, I'm like, so it wasn't enough that these 1,000 people in the stands saw you do it.
Let somebody else put that out there.
Right?
Yeah,
now
that's the
you had to
collective
go
mind
home
idea.
on your social media account and you had to put that on there.
Right.
And the first thing I thought was, how narcissistic is that,
Yeah.
man? How narcissistic is that, dude? Because I'm like, really? 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 But, so that's my little vent on that thing.
well-
But I think the women thing, I got a point on this women thing, man.
Yeah.
Women, here's my problem with feminists. Women have so much more capabilities than I could ever imagine.
Yeah.
They
Just
do.
their pain
I mean, like,
barriers
just my wife
alone.
in general. Like, my wife is just a savage. She's just, like, she works so hard, and she's so awesome, and, like, I mean,
totally know where you're
she's
coming from.
she's got, like, dude, if she ever got in a cage, I'm telling you, she would mess some chicks up.
Angelina
Right.
wants to get in the cage too. We're gonna have to get
We're gonna have to
fucking
do it,
sparring.
right,
It's
right,
like, yeah, we'll see.
Set it up, fight each other.
So, but she's just, like, and then she can create a human.
Ollie.
I can't even get angry at a dog.
She can create a human, right? And then on top of all that, she can multitask. She can listen to me vent about my whole entire day, and she can do
And on top of that,
1,000
yeah,
things,
she's
dude.
got the shopping list going.
Right? So my only problem with feminists is that they have all these special gifts, and yet what do they want? They want the things that they don't have. What do they don't have? What, that I'm physically stronger than them?
A penis?
That I can beat other
that's
that I can
even-
beat
that's even
that I
grayer
can beat
nowadays.
people up in a cage.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
want to do these strong physical labor jobs, and they want the standards lowered for those jobs. It's just kind of what we call it, like, talk about equal rights under the law or forced equality. Forced equality is when there's a standard and you drop that standard
Yeah.
to meet somebody's needs, to force people into a subject, right? It's like, no, you don't understand. You have all these special gifts, but let's be clear about one thing. There's not a woman on earth who will beat me up.
Well, there might
On
be.
earth. No, there's not. I'm here to tell
Rousey?
you. I'm here to tell you. There's not a woman on earth that can take me in a fight. That's a fact. I'm not being
I reckon Rousey
succeeded
can
here.
take you.
No.
Rousey can't even beat another woman,
Listen,
let alone
dude.
hit. You know what I mean?
Let's think about
Look
the
how many
toughest
times
chicks
she's
on
lost.
earth. Let's think about probably pound for pound the toughest chick on earth, Gabby Garcia.
I was gonna
She's a big, huge, muscly Brazilian chick. I will beat Gabby Garcia's ass any day of the week. It doesn't matter.
Fuck
I don't care.
off.
I'll fight her anytime she
I
wants to
hope
fight.
it's-
I don't care.
I
And
hope
even
this
and
gets
the
around.
other
That'd
ones,
be
it
so
doesn't matter,
amazing.
dude.
No,
I
I
know
know.
how they move. I
I
know
know.
how fast they are, how hard they hit. I
Yeah.
know it. It doesn't matter. I'll kick their ass. And I'm not being, like I said, I'm not being whatever you want to call
Well,
it.
I definitely would
You know what I mean?
lose.
That's fair enough. But they're not going to beat me. It's just not going to happen. And I'm not even the best male fighter. I mean, I'm not even close to the best male fighter. You know what I mean? I'm not even close. But they're not going to beat me. Gabby Garcia wouldn't beat maybe some of the real smaller guys that are really low ranked. But there's a fine line, dude.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, there's a fine line.
Interesting.
And don't get me wrong. Like, Ronda would beat the average dude. Right?
Oh, yeah, and I am below average, dude. I would say in the fighting. I've never even.
But
I am
I'll
too.
make
Don't
this
worry,
make this argument right here. Ronda fought at what, 35? There's not a professional male 35er, not a professional. I'm talking 0-1, 1-1, I'm talking the just the guys that are right there. There's not a professional fighter on earth who's a male at 135 that Ronda Rousey would beat. Not one.
It's interesting. I was actually.
That's the
listening-
difference in the physicality. There's just
Well,
a difference.
it's weird to say
you know
because
what
I
I
was
mean?
listening to a Joe Rogan thing where he was talking about a female that was just killing everyone, and then she went and fought a dude and just rocked her on the jaw and just like took her out.
Done.
Yeah.
Unless your name's Fallon Fox, then you.
Who's
That's
that?
the tranny.
Oh, I know that.
That's the
It's an
guy who turned
interesting
into a
point.
chick and fought other chicks.
But see,
You know
that's
what I mean?
also-
Oh,
like-
the wrestler?
That's like in the arena.
It's a black
though.
chick.
Oh, the different person. But
Yeah.
there was like a wrestler that won a state title.
Oh,
Used
that
to
one
be a
too.
dude.
Yeah, it's
It's
nuts,
like,
man.
I
It's
just-
like ridiculous, dude. People are insane.
Yeah.
They think this it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Oh, it's getting late.
Look at all these. This is awesome.
Who's viewing?
I don't know.
Anybody? Probably
I
not.
don't know, dude. Got anybody on? I can't tell.
Let's see if mine tells me.
Mine says I got one on.
Oh, mine says you're watching.
Mine says you're watching.
Yeah, so
that's funny.
Now it says 2.
We're both on our phones.
Oh, mine says you're watching. Mine says you're watching. Yeah. Now it says 3 are watching, so somebody's got to be watching.
Angelina's watching. She's like, I'm gonna fucking beat the shit out of these guys.
Tell them to come get some.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
She's probably sitting at home.
Did you watch that last comment?
I'm
just played, man. I'm just played.
Oh no.
I mean, I'm not kidding. Fun. There's not a girl who would beat me up on Earth, but I don't. It's not. That's not the point.
I guess
it's a physical thing. You know what I mean? It's like saying that. It's like saying that I'm not comparing women to like. I mean, what? How do I say this? Like, there's a difference. There's a difference in muscle mass. There's a difference in speed, and there's a difference in the shots you can take.
Like a grown woman, Ronda Rousey, fighting a top of the line 13-year-old girl MMA fight.
Exactly. There's not one that's down. Like, I guess you could get a really good kickboxer who might plant one on my head. Luckily, once out of 1,000 times, but that's it. You know what I mean?
Yep, I get what
I'd say this.
Percentage-wise, you're going to be like 90% win rate.
Yeah, if I fought every girl on the earth 10 times, not children, obviously. That's a little weird. If I fought every woman on the earth 10 times, there's not one woman that's going to beat me more than, I'd even say, once. 8 times out of 10. Like, yeah, it's well, I mean, you never know. One might get lucky, but it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's just
because I think of that through my point of view, and I'm like, I can get the shit beaten out of me by a girl.
My wife might hit me in the head with a frying pan by the time this podcast.
Yeah, you're
going
to be knocked out.
But
so, I guess because you're going through like a professional fighting mind, whereas I know how to defend all this and stuff. For me, I'm like, no, Ronda Rousey can kick the shit out of me, like up and down, like. So it's weird.
It's not just a male and female thing. It's a male and female skilled thing. Yeah. If you get a female with the same skill as me, they're not winning.
I think is the skill point.
Yeah.
We can't put.
There's women that can beat dudes up. There's chicks out I train with chicks that can beat dudes up. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But there's not a chick that's gonna beat somebody like me up.
Yeah.
Or somebody like Trevor up.
Yeah.
Or somebody even. I mean, if you get Will small weight classes, you might have a little issue. Like maybe like Gabby Garcia could like hold Zane down and kick his ass, but even that, man. We lose our feed?
Phone is dead, I guess.
Phone is dead, dude. That is it. We calling it?
Sign. Yep.
Let's do it.
Well, that was fun. So for all the YouTube watchers that are left, that is the end. And I'm sure we will
done, man.
Here again.
2.5 hours, bro.
That's nice.
That's nuts, man. That was a long time, but I loved it.